Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the second semi-final of Super Rugby Pacific 2023. This one an entertaining game. The Chiefs taking on the Brumbies. Last time that they played was at GIO Stadium. The only side to have beaten the Brumbies at home, the Chiefs. Now they find themselves at FMG Stadium. The only slightly unfortunate factor for this contest is the fact that it is absolutely bucketing down with rain. But that just means that your forwards are going to be a lot more important. Will we get to see that Brumbies crisp backline that they used up against the Canes in full swing? Or will that rain change tactics just a little bit? Looking through at the starting lineup, we are about 15 minutes away from the kickoff, ladies and gentlemen, but we will be live doing the commentary for the contest very soon. The front row for the Chiefs, Aiden Ross, Samasoni Taukeiaho, and George Dyer. I should mention that a lot of people feel that this is the strongest Chiefs lineup that they could have gone with heading into the semi-final. Brodie Retallick, a lot of experience there at number 4. Expect him to have a big game in this big semi-final. And Tupava'ai going to be there with him at number 5. The loose forward trio, Samapeni Finau at number 6. He played absolutely brilliantly last week in the game up against the Reds. Was one of the real standout forwards that had to find himself a spot on the starting side. Sam Cane, he made about 24 tackles in that last game up against the Reds. He's been a workhorse for a while for the Chiefs, and he has had some very good form in this Super Rugby Pacific season, perhaps even enough to get himself that spot in the AB's camp. It is announced tomorrow. Luke Jacobson takes a spot back at number 8. He was supposed to be starting last week's game up against the Reds. Due to sickness, it meant that Peter Gus-Sawakula made his way into the starting side. Brad Weber and Damian McKenzie, the ideal combo for 9-10 for the Chiefs. Anton Leonard-Brown at number 12, so he is replacing Rameka Poihipi, who finds himself coming off the bench because Alex Nankerville returns at number 13. That is probably the one change for the Chiefs that, I mean, it might be effective, but I feel bad for Rameka Poihipi. He has been playing absolutely brilliantly at that number 12 role. So to take him out now and put Nankerville in for the first time in quite some time, he's been out for a while, Nankerville, so could be a risky tactic for the Chiefs and hopefully does pay off for them. Matito Nana Satori out on the left wing, and Moni Narawa out on the right, and Sean Stevenson there at number 15. He started the season with a hiss and a roar. He's gone a little bit more quiet in the last little while, so perhaps this is the game that he really finds himself stepping up. They are just showing the head-to-head between Damian McKenzie and Jack Dibringzini. Now, he has been very handy, Dibringzini. He will be starting at number 10. The battle with the fly halves going to be one to certainly watch out for. I'm a Crusader supporter, however, the Brumbies should win, says Sio Lapau. Hopefully I've said that correctly. Red supporter going for the Brumbies today, says Steen. And I mean, the perfect example of how to play up against the Chiefs is actually the way that the Reds did it. Now, they weren't victorious in the quarterfinal, but even then, they still seem to know the tactic to try and really put the Chiefs under pressure. And I feel that that tactic was to do with their kicking game. The Chiefs were too willing to give that ball back into the hands of the Reds throughout that quarterfinal, which then allowed the Reds to play their natural running game, which in this game, I feel like the Chiefs had to make sure that they're the side attacking. We saw the Crusaders use it perfectly last night up against the Blues. Blues would kick it downfield, Crusaders counter-attack, and it was leading to a lot of points being scored. Stinking New Zealand weather. Yeah, it's a shame that this is about maybe the 3rd or 4th game at FMG Stadium that has involved rain. It's always when it's a big match as well. I think the last time, was it Chiefs versus Blues or Chiefs versus Hurricanes? One of those big games that get rained pretty heavily. Red supporter, I know I read that one, and go the mighty Chiefs, says Diane. And also we have got their semi-final, someone who knows, says Michael Gray. And then after predicting an upset in the playoffs, we'll go out on a limb and pick the Brumbies to win 27 points to 24 with Valentini scoring the first try. Is Jason. Well, that's the thing. He's actually had a little bit of a shift in the positioning of himself on the field. We will actually go on to the Brumbies lineup. Now, James Slipper, Lachlan Lonergan, and Sefu Kautai as the front row. Nick Frost and Cadron Neville, the locking duo that they have gone with the majority of this season, deciding to stick with it in the semi-final. Tom Hooper gets the move into number 6. That is due to no Jerome Brown. So last week it was Valentini 6, Jerome Brown 7, and Samu number 8. This week, because of that change of Jerome Brown, it means that we've got Tom Hooper at number 6. Pete Samu moves to 7, and Rob Valentini moves to 8. Now, that's quite a risky move, I would say, for the Brumbies, with the fact that they have got 3 players in different positions than they played last week. Whether or not it gels straight away, maybe could be the big talking point, I should say. Nick White at number 9, Jack Dibringzini at 10. been sensational in the last few games. Tamatito and Lena Katau, their passing game has been very crisp in that back line for the Brumbies, and that is certainly something to watch out for in this game, whether or not the rain does allow it to take place as smoothly as it did last week up against the Hurricanes. Still a wait-and-see factor. Currently interviewing Clayton McMillan, the Chiefs head coach, out in the rain. Looks very damp underfoot. I feel it is going to be one of those games that the more territory and the more position you have will be massively influential. Ollie Satspit at number 11, brilliant player for the Hawke's Bay, and now gets himself a chance again for the Brumbies out on that left wing. Andy Muirhead on the right wing, and then Tom Wright at 15. So those are the starting lineups for these two sides. Two very strong sides, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do out in this semi-final. We're only about 9 minutes away. Going to be very exciting. I should mention that the All Blacks, they are getting announced tomorrow. So because of that, a lot of these guys, this is their final trial run to try and show the head coach, Ian Foster, why they should be one of the ABs. That is why someone like Sean Stevenson, I feel he needs to have a good game. Ram Mikapoihape, if he plays well off the bench, perhaps he can even get himself a spot in that midfield combo. It should be good. See how they all go. And also the Wallabies, at the end of the day, a lot of these Brumbies guys, they have represented the Wallabies. A few other guys looking to try and get themselves a foot in the door. Perhaps Corey Toole, another option for the Aussies when he does come off the bench for the Brumbies. Also, Noel Alessio, the youngster at 22. Ian Foster, he is watching this game. I believe he's undercover, I would have to say, because it doesn't look like he's having too many problems with the wetness of this game. Now, yeah, only about 8 minutes away, like I mentioned. Do let me know your score predictions in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. For me, it's going to be a close game. I know that I gave a prediction on my preview not too long ago, and I believe I picked the Chiefs to win this game 29 points to 15? 28 points to 15, I think it might have been, in fact. And now that it's raining, I think it's going to be a lot closer. So it's a tricky one to predict. Tamatitua from Northland, says Gabe Grace. And yeah, he's been very good in the middle. And Aru rubbish comment says, for the Crusaders making fans lose interest in Super Rugby, to be honest. I know that it's been a talking point quite a bit, and people have been agreeing. It seems like that is actually the majority vote, that until the Crusaders are dethroned, I mean, we've already seen the numbers going down in recent times when they did have their dominance, but it's one of those ones that it's great for the Crusaders supporters. It's great for the Crusaders as a team. They've shown that they can build depth. It will definitely be a feeder club for the All Blacks, but someone's got to dethrone them. And if no one does, I mean, we've already seen statistically, they always say stats don't lie, but yeah, it's been a bit rough for a while. Crusaders being so dominant and high all. Just got up to 56 a.m. to watch. Says Robert, geez, that's an early morning start, isn't it? I think we're going to be up till then doing the Curry Cup semi-final a little bit later on. I'm a Kiwi and Oz, says Choke the Woke. And also the Brumbies will be lucky to get more than 3 tries, says Trent. To be honest, in these rainy conditions, I think both of these sides would happily take 3 tries on the board, because you never know. You're going to see a lot of scrums, I would think, throughout this 80 minutes. We're going to see a lot of line-outs taking place as well due to penalties, players slipping in the breakdown and whatnot. Going to work in 3 hours, says Robert. Yeah, very early mornings. Geez, you start work early, don't you? 6 a.m. Although that's kind of normal, isn't it? Now that I think about it, it's just because I start normally at midnight for late night live streams. I always get confused at normal times. Do you want the Chiefs to win or the Brumbies, says Bonnie? Well, it's an interesting one, because if the Chiefs win this game, the home final will be at FMG Stadium, and it will be up against the Crusaders. If the Brumbies win, it is going to be a home game for the Crusaders at Orange Theory Stadium, and that will be up against the Brumbies. So, yeah, no matter what, there are still 2 options that we could see. We're either going to see a home final for the Crusaders or a home final for the Chiefs. Remember, Chiefs fans, 4th place Munster knocked out the top of the table Leinster in the URC semi-finals. It could go either way, says Stone Cold. And I feel like with the rain, it does make it just that little bit closer as well, because normally that free-flowing rugby that we see, you look at a team like the Fiji and Drua, as soon as they end up in a rainy game, it doesn't quite roll off their hands the way that it normally would. But I feel like that's when we start to see a few other players start to step up. The loose forward, Summer Penifina last week, he was phenomenal. I hope to see him do well in this game. And he might even get himself an AB's call-up if he gets it right. Good morning from Nairobi, Kenya. As I told you on the last game, Chiefs are this year's Leinster, and Crusaders are this year's La Rochelle, who get the trophy, says Moses. And the Blues played bad yesterday, says Barnes Plays. They did not play their best rugby at all, and I think they were far from it, unfortunately, for the Blues. But the Crusaders, it's always a tricky game because a lot of people were trying to work out, was it that the Crusaders were that dominant, or was it the fact that the Blues were just completely off? And I think it was the Crusaders' pressure created opportunities where the Blues just weren't quite able to handle that extra bit of pressure, the rush defense. They were having handling errors. They were giving away penalties. And I think the Crusaders, once again, we're seeing them peak at the right time of the competition. We head into the finals playoff games. They did lose their game most recently up against the Hurricanes, though, so it has been shown that they are beatable. Chiefs beat them when they played at Orange Theory Stadium as well. These are the recent results for the Chiefs. They have only had the one loss throughout this whole Super Rugby Pacific season. That was against the Reds, who did take them into deep water again when they faced them in the quarterfinal last week. They're beating the Brumbies at home, the only side to be able to beat the Brumbies at GIO Stadium, the side that play them here in the semi-finals, also having wins over the Hurricanes and the Western Force. For the Brumbies, they have been able to get themselves a couple decent wins over New Zealand sides. They beat the Highlanders in that high-scoring affair taking place at GIO Stadium. The Force were victorious over the Brumbies, which is quite an interesting one. And the Brumbies versus Rebels, 33 points to 17. Nice 16-point win there for the Brumbies. But that game last week, the talking point, a lot of people felt that it was going to be an absolute thriller, and it went right down to the wire, which is what we've got potential of this game being able to do as well. Will be Crusaders. Scott is a great coach and a mentor, says Gita. Do you think the Chiefs will do the haka in the final? I'm not sure. If it's at FMG Stadium, maybe, but I'm not sure whether or not they would. It depends, because I think they only really do it when the other team does it as well. So I don't know who would talk to who. Maybe Clayton McMillan says to Robinson, you want to do a bit of a haka for the match? He'll say, no, I want to do my break dance after it. And we're Super Rugby champions once again. Morning from Sweden. No games to ref today. So let's go. The Chief says Builder McLeod. And good evening, Kiwi Lad, says Crip. Welcome in. And the Crusaders too clinical. Yeah, any chance that the Blues gave the Crusaders last week or last night, they took it. And that's going to be the very tricky part of the final. Same with this game. I feel like any loose ball, any mistake is going to be capitalised on. With these wet conditions as well, players will be slipping and sliding. Whoever's got the longest sprigs will find themselves the most success. And that Thai air prop, Sefo Kaltai, used to play for the Chiefs years ago. Says Marco there. So, yeah, I guess against his old side, maybe even on his old stomping ground. So it's to a certain extent. Looking here at the Chiefs starting lineup as we get closer and closer to the kickoff, only about 2 minutes away. For the front row of the Chiefs, it will be Aidan Ross, Simasuni Takiaho, and George Dyer as the front row going head-to-head. Of course, a very strong Brumbies fullback, Brody Retallick and Tupa Va'ai, the two in the locking duo. Summer Penny Finau, Sam Kane, and Luke Jacobson gets a spot back. At number 8, Damian McKenzie and Brad Weber make up the 9-10 combo. Anton Leonard-Brown moves to 12 after playing 13 last week with the return of Alex Nankervel at outside centre. Atino Nana Satori out on the left wing, and Moni Narua out on the right, two try-scoring machines for the Chiefs throughout the season, and then Sean Stevenson. Man, if he doesn't get into the All Black squad tomorrow, I will be a bit sad. That is the starting lineup for the Chiefs. Looking at the Brumbies, James Slipper, a lot of experience there on that man's head. Lachlan Lonergan at 2. We'll be looking to get that rolling maul going in the Brumbies at the moment. They have scored the most tries out of any side in Super Rugby Pacific off a line-out move. And whether or not that's a rolling maul or just it started at the line-out and then a few phases score the try, the Brumbies, that's their specialty. They'll be looking to get it right today. So typical Kaltai does find himself at number 3. Nick Frost and Cadron Level as the locks. Tom Hooper, Pete Samu and Rob Ballatini as the loose forward trio. Nick White and Jack Dibbering, senior players, been coming into his own very nicely near this end of the rugby season. Tamati Thor, I just bit my tongue. He is there at number 12. Lena Katau at 13. Then Ollie Satsford, Andy Muirhead, and Tom Wright, the back 3 for the Brumbies. We have got there, we don't care where the final is. We put it on the line, home and away. If you want to be the best, you have to show us or show up and take from us, says Michael. And that is, of course, for anyone who doesn't know, from a Crusaders perspective. From Michael, you're streaming the All Black squad announcement. That is the plan. I'm not sure how early we're going to be starting, but we'll probably end up doing some sort of build-up where we do pick our own All Black squad, see how close we can get to what Ian Foster does end up selecting. But, yeah, that will probably get scheduled about midday tomorrow, more than likely. Go George, here's Mr. JJ, but in charge of this one. Oh, no. It's Nick Berry as the referee. How's he managed to get this gig? Okay, that's interesting. I don't, of course, you shouldn't judge a referee by his past record, but Nick Berry, if there's anyone to judge, it's that man. Stevenson will head to the NRL, not selecting the ABs. I think so. The Chiefs have never lost at home, or have never lost a home playoff game, 7 from 7. Which means if they win this game, they go into the game up against the Crusaders with 2 undefeated sides in that regard. But now it's going to be kicked off by the Chiefs, and the semi-final is underway, nicely taken there by Andy Muirhead, who has dropped the headgear for this contest, instead gone with the dreads by the looks of it. Now 22 metres out from their own line, the Brumbies. Passing back across to James Slipper. Are in possession just outside of their own 22 now. Nick White rolling this ball back, looking to use the box. Jeez, the more. Oh, I'll tell you what, Vi's absolutely dropped him there. And the follow through, nicely taken by Sean Stevenson, now 40 metres out. The Chiefs in position, looking to use it to the right-hand side. George Dyer decides to run at the line, tackled hard by Lachlan Lonergan. Now Webber back across to McKenzie, short ball there to Luke Jacobson. Seems like the Chiefs, they've kicked it away with Damian McKenzie, looking for a bit of territory. Awkward kick, but nicely claimed by Tom Wright, who has got a very big right boot. Gets the kick way downfield there, McKenzie. Will he take it quickly? Decides against it. Why is he nodding? He's just lost the territory battle. But it is now going to be the Chiefs who have got this line out from about 52 metres from the Brumbies line, a little bit inside of their own half, and it will be Samasoni Taukiaho. Does now have this line out throw. Throwing it into the back, stolen by the Brumbies at line-out time. Hoping McKenzie is now thinking maybe that wasn't the best option. Now Nick White goes across to Rob Valentini. Big shot into Sam Cane, but Sam Cane wrestles him down. Fair play to the number 7, Nick White. White cut out pass to the left-hand side. Now Ollie Satsford backs himself on the outside, just slips a little bit in the ankle tap attempt by the Chiefs. And go the Brumbies. Says no idea was going to take the family to the game tonight, but the weather turned bad again. Guess what? I saw them spraying the clouds again yesterday, says Marco. And back to the right-hand side. You'd take them to the final, though, Marco, wouldn't you, even in the rain, if it was Chiefs versus Crusaders? Nick White back to the left-hand side again to James Slipper. Slowly building up nicely here for the Brumbies. Back to the left, Jack DeBrinksini, now Rob Valentini. Tackle made on him by both of the Chiefs props. Cadron Neville has the crack. I've now moved into the 22. White goes across to Valentini, taking the new role on at number 8 for this game. Was actually at 6 last week, but due to the change of Jerome Brown, meant that they did have a bit of a reshuffle. Their loose forward trio now going to the left-hand side. Nick White goes off to Tom Wright, tries a little kick in behind. Stevenson takes it and boots it downfield, and now Chiefs have found a little bit of open space in behind. That ball slowly rolling towards the touchline. It's gone out. Brilliant kick there from Sean Stevenson to relieve what was quite a bit of pressure coming from this Brumbies attack. And morning, Kiwi lads, and Rock and Hamish is coming down in buckets here. The garden is floating. There's roof. I tell you what, there's going to be some puddles forming soon at the game if the rain doesn't slow down a little bit. So both sides making a couple kicking errors early, nicely claimed again at the line out by the Brumbies. They have got the most successful out of any side in the Super Rugby Pacific competition. Now Nick White goes for the box kick. In fact, he tries to put a little bit extra on it, gets it down into the 22 of the Chiefs. Amoni Narawa takes it, and now we'll be looking for the kick again. That one gone into touch. Very good kick from Amoni Narawa. Gets it down towards the halfway line. I think the Chiefs in this first half, they're going to find themselves playing a lot inside of their own 50 metres, and that is mainly because of what we saw from the Reds playing the Chiefs last week. They showed that if you can kick it in behind, trap the Chiefs inside of their half, eventually you're going to be able to get points on the board. Nicely stolen there by Luke Jacobson, though, at scrum, or in fact, line-out time, sorry. They were saying Taukiaho drives up to 48. Out from the line now. McKenzie goes across to Anton Leonard-Brown, shifting it out to this left-hand side. Alex Nankerville going to be going to Munster next year. Now URC champs. McKenzie rush defence there from the Brumbies. I believe it was Nick White chasing it hard. And Chiefs all the way, simple really, says Kobus. Now McKenzie going off to Samasoni Taukiaho. He almost held up there. Don't call it as a maul, so it will be play on. Ball almost pops out the side, but Brad Webber's been able to clean it up now. Amoni Narawa. Big shot on him by James Slipper. So the Chiefs is trying to slow it down here, get a few phases being played. Sam Cane, nice cut pass out to Alex Nankerville Breaks through his opposite numbers tackle, Len Iketal. A little bit of a counter ruck there from the Brumbies. Sam Cane does very well to keep it on the side of the Chiefs. Now McKenzie goes across the big Brody Retallick. Well, he will have a pretty strong game today. Go the Chiefs, go, says Aparama. And I'm celebrating my only Saturday off in the year, says Russo. Hopefully you do enjoy it. Plenty of rugby on. We've got the Curry Cup later on. Also the Ashes just around the corner for day 2. Weber going to McKenzie. They are off to the left-hand side now, up to 10 phases in a row now for the Chiefs. They are still in position, but they haven't made a huge amount of meters. So now I'm hoping they'll continue to hit up the phase play because that was a very good run from Ross. McKenzie's kicked it away. It's going to be nicely controlled by the Brumbies, and that relieves the pressure. Tom Wright able to kick it way down the park. Doesn't end up finding touch. McKenzie trying to use a little bit of skill. Ends up hitting it with his hand backwards. Now goes for the kick and behind. Nicely taken by Nick White inside of the Brumbies 22. Looking to curl this one nicely here, and it's going to be kicked out about 40, or in fact about 35 metres out from the line. The territory now in favour of the Chiefs, and the crowd, you can hear that they are well and truly getting behind their home side for this contest. Brumbies' defence has been sensational throughout this season, just not quite leading them through as of yet. Now Tina Nasatora, short ball to Sam Cane, tackled by Jack Debring-Zini. Bovai pierces around the side of the breakdown. It's going to be the big forward for the Chiefs who gets that breakthrough, or perhaps the backline. We haven't seen too much of the running game of Sean Stevenson as of yet. Now Weber goes across to Sama Pinifi now. Over the ball there for the Brumbies. It's an advantage, and the penalty goes the way of the Chiefs. I'm sure they'll take on the 3 points here. That will give them a nice little buffer on the board. Having hot chocolate and oats cookies, says Roof there. And Carl the Chiefs says Daddy Fat Sacks. Riccatelli should be the only Blues player selected for the ABs. Everyone else on the Blues was terrible, bloody terrible. Although I would say Dalton Papali, he's another one that should be selected. He's probably already relatively confirmed though, I guess. But yeah, I felt like he was one of the only forwards alongside a little bit of Riccatelli that were actually getting to the breakdowns for the Blues. Everyone else was waiting for that dummy run out in the back line, having a bit of a break on the wing, looking at you, Akira Ioane. He was just sitting there chilling. And Takiaho runs the ball well for a hooker, says Daddy Fat Sacks. Yeah, as soon as he gets any type of space, can break well. And he has been working on his line-out throw a lot. I know about a year and a half ago, everyone was saying he's not AB's material because he isn't able to really get that line-out throw straight. But, yeah, it's come a long way in the last little while. Talia should be in, says Joe Webby. McKenzie smiling at the post. Lining up this kick. And it's gone over. Close to the right-hand post, but that will now make the score 3-0 in favour of the Chiefs. And no, he shouldn't after that performance, says Daddy Fat Sacks. We saying Papali shouldn't. I would have thought out of that whole 4-pack, Papali was one of the only guys who I thought actually did something. I assume we're talking about Papali, possibly. And go on the Brumbies, let's see a New Zealand final. Oh, no, sorry. You might be talking about Akira Ioane instead, possibly. I do say a lot of words in a hurry, so it's hard to follow. Thanks, Marco. I'll have extra for you and go to the Brumbies final in Christchurch. Says Dion, I don't think I would be. I'll be sending Isaac to the game if we do end up having that as what the final is. The Brumbies just looked very physically fit and strong for this game. We cover day 2 of the Ashes tonight. I have got it scheduled that we are starting at 9:55 for the first session. Of course, Australia going to be batting. Papali was average. Riccatelli was a standout for the Blues. Daddy Fat Sacks. Although, it's one of those ones, when you look at the stats, Papali was pretty solid overall. I think he was let down by the other two in his loose forward trio. Ricky Riccatelli, I think, did he win one line out for the Blues when they had him on the field? I know that Eklund got one right when he finally made his way out there. But, yeah, it was a tough day at the office for any forward for the Blues. Now, Nick White passes off to Debring-Zini, inside ball to Cadron Neville, now moving up to 25 metres out. Nick White has managed to milk the advantage by passing it straight into Aiden Ross, who wasn't quite able to run his way back on site. Now going to the right-hand side here for the Brumbies. Tamati Tua on the outside to Tom Wright, who's playing 15 for this game. The pass just a little bit too far out in front of Pete Samu. And now they will go back for the penalty. And I believe the Brumbies, they will too be looking for that 3 points. Go the Chiefs, Avarama. Riccatelli, Italian or Spanish? Riccatelli. Is he Italian? Maybe. Italian mother or father, I believe. And shame on the Blues for giving up on Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. Says, or ARW, was it the Blues gave up on Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, or did Roger Tuivasa-Sheck give up on the Blues? When you really think about it, how far into the season was he like, nah, going back to league, see you later, buds? And that was when the Blues were going well as well. Imagine how quickly he would have ditched them if they were playing badly. Now, Jack Debrenzini going to be lining up the 3 points. I think it was unlucky that they didn't give him any game time, though, in those last few weeks. But I think they were just like, if you're not going to be playing for us next year, there's no point developing you. That's why they went with someone like a Bryce Heem at 12 or Harry Plummer. You know, an Origin game Wednesday, we are indeed. Jack Debrenzini's missed the kick. It's gone away to the right-hand side. He's thrown the tee away. That man's got to go get it now. That will keep the score sitting at 3 points to 0 in favour of the Chiefs. Go the Brumbies, says Levi. I think the floaters can score tries. That snatch and run down wing, says Roof. And Queensland, says Daddy Fat Sacks. How's cricket been going? Says DV. So we have seen, I mean, England, they did their baseball technique of doing a lot of quick play, getting a lot of runs on the board, and then they actually declared near the end of the day, which was a bit of a surprise for a lot of people. So Australia going to be batting. They are none down at the moment with Khawaja and Warner. The opening, now McKenzie takes that ball for the Chiefs. Tackled well by Sefu Kautai. Chiefs currently finding themselves inside of their own half again. They'll look for a kick here soon, I believe. Did you get good sleep? Not really, no. I stayed up very late because I watched the rest of the Ashes, and then it took me a while to get sleep. Then I woke up relatively early. That's all good. That's kind of the weekend summarised. Now Tom Wright thinks about going for the run. Does get taken down low by Summer Penny Finau. Hi, Hamish says, Kevin, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well now. Nick Frost set up at this Chiefs side again. Oh, that ball is out as the call from Nick Berry. So now Brody Retallick's bum has ended up out, unfortunately for him. He's trying to pull his pants up while in the breakdown, but the Brumbies end up with the ball. Adrian Neville. Tackled by Luke Jacobson. Neither side making a huge amount of meters when it comes to their running game, and it just shows how evenly matched these sides can be when it comes to their defensive play. Jack Debrenzini has to kick it down the park, and he's got a decent amount on that one. McKenzie lines it up nicely now, goes across to the right-hand side. The cowbells are ringing in Waikato at the moment. Kick downfield from Sean Stevenson. Looking for space instead, just finds the hands of Jack Debrenzini again, who puts it in behind. It's going to be skidding low. Pulls up nicely for Damien McKenzie, 5 metres out from the Chiefs line. Now looks for the run. Goes across to Deno. Nana Satoro will kick it downfield on the left boot. And it's a good kick again down towards the halfway line. Neither side have really got those kicks wrong as of yet. I think the closest that we had was Nick White when it was about maybe 32 metres out from the line. And Amos Stono says, Daddy Fat Sacks go. The Chiefs says Paul a little bit earlier on, and Blues have good players. They play too conservative, says Joe Webby. Stolen by the Chiefs at line out time. That is the second successful one that they have been able to take off the Brumbies. And like I mentioned, the Brumbies, one of the most successful lineouts, if not the best, I believe, statistically in Super Rugby Pacific. Now Tupavai driven backwards there in the tackle by 2 Brumbies locks. Now McKenzie goes across to Anton Leonard-Brown, sold the dummy as if he was going to Alex Nankerville now. Has been tackled by Sefu Kautai, who's already had to make quite a few early tackles. Got this one, was his score in the Ashes, Hamish. So they're on their first test match at the moment. That's kicked behind by Damien McKenzie. And it does drift into touch. That is a decent kick from D-Mac there. But yeah, it's one of those ones where England are sitting, I think they got about 380 runs and then declared, and then Aussie are currently about 20 runs for none in the first one. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck did play rugby union before rugby league. Says Crip, he did. He played back in first 15, and straight away everyone was like, he'll just take to it like a duck takes the water. Took him a little while, gave away a few early penalties, RTS, trying to work out the new rules, but it is quite a tricky one to adjust to, which is why we see some rugby league players who kind of do quite well in terms of adjusting straight away, and then others who take a bit more time. I think RTS was going to be one of those guys who just needed to stick at it that little bit longer because he was starting to find some decent momentum, and then the news broke that he was going to be leaving. Now, Samasoni Tauchiaho throwed it in nicely, taken by Tupavai. Now Weber goes across to Atena Nana Satoro. We all know it was about his CV, says Michael Gray. Now Brad Weber goes back across to Sami Penny Finau. I think he's going to score a try today, Finau. He was good last week. I feel like, oh no, so Tokiao's just offloaded it straight into Dyer's head. And now because of it, the Brumbies end up back with the ball. They will be kicking it now in behind. Looking for a lot of distance on this one. The ball's going to pull up just inside of the field of play. That is due to the wetness. It just stops the ball in its tracks. But now McKenzie moves up to the 22, kicks it back infield. Nicely taken. Offloaded back to Nick White, who's looking for a kick of his own, not trying to get the 50-22, but instead just trying to play that territory game, getting it deep inside of the Chiefs territory. Big kick from Sean Stevenson downfield, though. That one has got the Brumbies back inside of their 22. And now Deberizini downfield, not going to find touch. Nicely taken by Damien McKenzie again. Decides to kick once more down into the 22 for the Brumbies. Andy Muirhead. He will now boot it down the middle of the park. He's not the greatest when it comes to the kicking department, and it's been smacked straight into Tupavai. Now Weber wrestled down to the turf by Nick White. Samapeni Finau picks the ball up, gives it back to Tinana Satoro, who will once again go for another kick. That one's close to the touchline, but Tom Wright now taking a little bit too long to decide what he wanted to do there, and instead will kick it back down the field. Now McKenzie. I feel like I'm commentating AFL at the moment with all these kicks. Nicely run up by McKenzie, which I think is something that they might have to use a bit more to their advantage here. The Chiefs, good attack and run from Samapeni Finau. Nice acceleration shown now. Alex Nankerville looks for the pop pass up to Amoni Narawa, but the Brumbies are there to defend. At least this game isn't this one-sided affair. Like last night says Jason, yeah, it seems like it's going to be one of those ones where every point is crucial, which is why Jack Deberencini will be a little bit disappointed to have missed that first kicking attempt. Brad Weber looked for the flick pass on the inside to Sean Stevenson, who was not expecting it. Nicely picked up by Sam Kane here. Now Weber looks to go to the right-hand side. Little chip behind from Damien McKenzie. Sits up perfectly for Jack Deberencini, who now tries to run it back. But it's tackled once again. Luke Jacobson in the mix. That's going to be a counter-ruck from the Chiefs. Unsuccessful. Lonergan goes across to Frost now. And Footy AFL, are you supporting in the footy? Cheers, Nate. I've only actually seen a couple sides play AFL live, one of which being the Sydney Swans and Hawthorn, and then the other was Brisbane Lions versus Collingwood. But, yeah, I'd have no idea who's in any of the sides. I remember Cyril. Cyril's about the only guy I knew. Nick White now looking to kick this one high again. There's been a lot of kicking and a lot of those short passes used throughout the first 17 minutes of this one. McKenzie knocks the ball on. So do the Brumbies. No, they've said that it is going to go backwards instead. And now Pete Samu passes on the outside. Forward pass out wide to Andy Muirhead. Still play on. Knock on from Atino Satoro. And that will now be the scrum feed for the Brumbies. It may have just been the angle we saw, but that pass from Tom Wright looked like it may have drifted a little bit forward.
Sees everything.
That was a knock on from Damien McKenzie. And we'll see this. I'm going to see this pass again. I feel like I'm just being too critical. No, I went forward by about half a metre. But in the end, the Brumbies, they're going to end up with the scrum. Hawthorn, Trent Croat, Kiwi boy. He's the one with all the tattoos, isn't he? Is he the one who tried to get his dad to go to one of the games, but he couldn't because he was like on house arrest or something? Is that the right guy? Or there was someone who couldn't get their dad over to the game because of some sort of restriction. I don't know whether that's him or not. Come on, the cheese, says Paul. Now Nick Berry is going to be Nick White. In fact, two Nicks out there. 18 minutes in, first scrum of the day. Nick White goes across to Tama Titua, hits it up hard. Damien McKenzie gets him down. Anton Leonard-Brown trying to get that turnover in the breakdown, but that now means there'll be a gap on the outside. Deberencini tries to get the offload to Andy Muirhead. It's actually hit him in the shins. Nice work there from Tom Wright. Get himself over the ball. I heard Nick Berry say release. Now, Brad Weber looking to get McKenzie back into the pocket. We'll now look for the kicking option. Wasn't sure whether to go left or right there, McKenzie, but he does in the end decide. Kick it to the right. Now about 30 metres out from the line, it is going to be the Brumbies who have got themselves the line out. Come on, the Chiefs, says Paul, and Morning just joined. There's A. Scott. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well at the moment. Close game between these two sides. Only the 3 points scored. The Brumbies now another attacking opportunity, although they have already lost two of their own lineouts throughout the first 19 minutes. So Chiefs putting them under pressure here. Jacobson's been great in the line-out so far. They don't contest that time, though. Nicely taken by the Brumbies. Lonergan goes across to Tama Titua. Ball in behind to Ollie Satsford. like against quite a few of these men in the Bunnings EBC as a Hawke's Bay representative. Speaking of the Bunnings EBC, there's a Ramphilly Shield Challenge coming up. Wellington, I think they're going to be taking on South Canterbury in the near future. And Brumbies to snatch victory in the final dying minutes. Says Stone Cold. They've got numbers on the left-hand side here, though, for the Brumbies. Now nicely taken low from Pete Samu. Oh, there he is. Rob Valentino. I wasn't even sure if he was playing yet. I haven't seen him. He's out the back line, though, doing the Kiriwani. Now, Lachlan Lonergan moves up to 30 metres out from the line. Nick White now short ball after James Slipper almost going through, but Retallick gets him again. Now Tom Wright, first receiver, ball on the outside. To Leonard Kittel. We haven't seen a huge amount of his running throughout this game. The Chiefs might be just over the ball. Nope. Hands weren't on it. Instead, he was on the player. Now, short ball to Tom Hooper. First carry from the number 6. He's added in for this game. Nick White milks that penalty advantage again by passing it into the side. Now, Rob Valentini. Nicely stolen by Amoni Narawa. And they will go back for another penalty to the Chiefs. Or sorry, to the Brumbies, I should say. These are animals on the field, says Zeddy. And also, Brumbies look like sprinting to the finish. Those wild horses. Says Roof there. Brumbies looking good so far. Says annoying. Looks like Samsoni Tokiaho got a cut just on the eyelid. The Brinzini. Oh, this is interesting. They've decided to instead kick for the corner here, the Brumbies, rather than going for the 3 points at the moment. The Brinzini here is sitting 0 from 1 for the kicking department. Now, going to be a line-out throw for the Brumbies, 5 metres out. And White is the sneaky halfback we all want to have in our team, says Hanoi. To be fair, Weber in this situation in a finals game would have probably done the same thing. Now Nick White goes across to Jack De Brinzini. 10 metres out from the line. Now Tamati Tua hits it up for the Brumbies again. Now Tom Hooper goes across. Brumbies up for this, says Michael Gray. I mean, looking strong with their running early on in this contest. Nick White goes across to the left-hand side. They have got huge numbers. All they need to do is shift it wide. Valentini, though, didn't pass, and McKenzie was able to take it down. Now, short side, Ollie Sats, but close to the touchline. Nick White goes across to Tamati Tua. Jeez, he's been driven hard, and now he's trying to put one of the Chiefs players in a guillotine on the sideline. I think it was Brad Weber. He's not too happy. Now, only a few metres out from 5 metres here for the Brumbies. To 7 phases. De Brinzini goes across now. Skip past Tom Wright. Great hands from Pete Samu, but he has knocked that ball on in the breakdown. And the Chiefs will have themselves now the scrum. So they are at the moment just keeping plenty of pressure on both sides. Their defence has been pretty strong. Idiot, says Jason. There, cheap seats is where all the herpes and syphilis is located. Keep away from that part of the stadium, says Marco. Valentini. Where did all the numbers go? It's actually, I said that Valentini didn't pass. It's because whoever was on his outside, I think, ran inwards. He was all by himself. Who's more sneaky, Nick White or Aaron Smith? I mean, it's one of those ones that a couple games ago, I think it was it Angus Gardner or Brendan Picker or one of the two decided that he wasn't given penalties for those passing it into the player who's offside. So far, we have seen 2 penalty advantage in favour of the Brumbies for the same tactic. So it will be interesting to see what happens in the final in terms of who referees that and whether or not they do decide to do those. That's going to be a great ball to Anton Leonard-Brown. Now kicks it down the middle of the field. A lot of space there, looking to curve it for the 50-22. Not quite, just a metre or so out from that 22 line. Hang on. No. The touch judge has said it's a 50-22. Anton Leonard-Brown had a smile on his face as if to say, I don't think that went out there. But he'll take it. They're going to have another look at this. Leonard-Brown, did this go out a metre? They're going to check this one. With where Tokiaho's standing, that's outside of the 22. So surely that's the Brumbies. Yeah, they're going to give the Brumbies the ball here. Gone out before the flag. Touch judge got excited. Now the Brumbies, they will have themselves the ball. Take your antibiotic spray with you. Marco and Gregan did that a lot too. Yeah, that's short of the 22. About 23 metres out, I would say. And also, we've got the Nick White's mustache.
The Brumbies gone back inside the 22.
Now the Brumbies throwing this ball in nicely. Oh, that's an awkward landing. I think that's going to be called as the Chiefs pulling him down, which means now that the Brumbies have got themselves the penalty to Pavai. the one who's been penalised, obstructing a lifter, and go Aussie, 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 says Michael there. And currently we are sitting 24 minutes through, almost kept in the field of play by Tino Satoro. Great tackling in the defence. Nobody can get through those shark nets. Well, that's the thing. Both of these sides, their defensive tackling has been very impressive throughout this game. And people will look at this and go like, oh, 3-0 after 25 minutes. That's no fun. But there's been some good attacking chances. It's just both teams have been shutting them down so quickly. Nicely taken there by Frost. Now Hooper off the back goes to Nick White, short ball to Rob Valentini. Okiaho unable to get the turnover in the breakdown, but the Brumbies, anytime we look out to that left-hand side, the far side of the field, they have got about 6 runners ready to go up against about 4 of the Chiefs defenders. I'm wondering how long they wait until they decide to go that way to Brinzini. Nice short ball to Tom Hooper. Now moves up to the 22. Jacobson loses his footing. Been going for that turnover. Nick White goes for the grubber in behind. Sean Stevenson has to cover and is forced to put it down inside of his in-goal area. That will now be the goal line dropout for the Chiefs. Starting to get to that point of the half where we start to question, will we see a try in the first 40 minutes of this contest? In 24 hours, please choose Whainanuku over Clark. Cheers, Ian Uso. Says Marco Vonopola. Well, there could be some wild cards in there. Who knows? There's a Tina Ninasatoro. Is he one that could be in with half a crack? It depends on really what they're looking to do with their side, whether they're going with a few new names or whether they're going to go with those more experienced guys. Because, yeah, Clark hasn't lit the world on fire out on that left wing throughout the season, you'd have to say. Now, Nick White going back across to Ollie Satsford. Moni Narawa gets his opposite. Good counter ruck there from Sam Kane. The ball just almost bounces out. Going to be a little knock on from the Brumbies. Nice little bit of hustle from the Chiefs skipper. He's taking some deep breaths at the moment. He's been running all over the park today, making tackles. That could be a very important turnover. Goes in with the counter ruck, putting Nick White under pressure. Also, George Gregan and Jus van der Vesterhazen. There's Roof. And this is a true semi-final. Yeah, it is a lot closer than the last one that we had between the Crusaders and the Blues, that is for sure. But it makes you wonder, how will the winner of this game match up with the Crusaders? Will they be able to defensively do the same as they are doing here? Or will they be a little bit, they might be more attacking, I would say. Boring compared to last night's game, says Naomi. It does depend a little bit in terms of who you go for and also what type of rugby game you want to see. I know that a lot of people would say a close game that's low scoring, they would prefer it over a high scoring one-sided affair type thing. And spectacles, testicles, and try line. Come on, people, says Roof. That last part of that could have a whole different meaning with those other words you used. And a much better game than last night, says Michael. And hi, Mumbo. I'm good, mate. Praying my boy Ian Foster grows a pair and drops certain rubbish players from the Blues. Hope you're well, bud. And it's much better than last night. Come on, says Annoy. Aiton McMillan looking nervous. At the end of the day, this game is far from one for either of these sides. Get to see a single try throughout the Super Rugby Pacific semi-final. If the Chiefs are victorious, they will have their home final at FMG Stadium. Hopefully the weather is better. That is one thing that's probably, I was going to use the word dampened this game a little bit. That's going to be both front rows going up, too much movement as well as the call. Now it's going to be a scrum again for the Chiefs. Are you going to cover the Heartland Rugby, says Kevin? I might end up covering that game that takes place between Wellington and South Canterbury. I'm not sure about Heartland Rugby rather than the Bunnings EBC, though. Normally, we try and get a bit of the Bunnings EBC going on the channel. It just kind of depends on what else is happening around the world in terms of sport. Anton Leonard-Brown can cement his AB spot tonight. True. And now that he's playing a little bit of 12, someone who I feel is a little bit unlucky is Rameka Poihapi. Alex Nankerville, we haven't seen him in about 3 or 4 weeks, and he just walks into the starting side for a semi-final after Leonard Brown and Rameka Poihapi have proven that they are a very good midfield combo for the Chiefs. So that is going to now be the advantage to the Chiefs at scrum time. Damien McKenzie goes across to Nanai Satori, now slips and falls. Brumbies trying to get over that ball. I think he's done it pretty well there from Tamatitua. So they will go back for the initial penalty to the Chiefs. Come on, Chiefs, the Waikato, home of conception and just up the highway from my birthplace, Taronga, says Andrew Watt. Right. This one is way too far out for Damien McKenzie to kick, of course, so they will be looking more for the touchline here. James Slipper, the man who was penalised at scrum time for that one. Should mention anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are going to be covering the final next week on the channel. So if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 25,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. It's a big number. That's gone relatively straight from Taukei'aho now. And Moni Narawa, big shot on him by Tom Hooper. Get him around the rib cage. Now Weber slings it back across to the right-hand side. Bit of a switch there from the Chiefs. Samasoni Taukei'aho starts driving the leads offload up to Nankivell, who's done very well to take that catch because he was just about to join the breakdown. Advantage there to the Chiefs. Ball bounces out the side, and they will now end up more than likely taking on that 3 points once again. I think the ref was pointing at Sifu Kautai. Nick White, what's he asking about here? Oh, the injured player. What he was saying. If you were conceived in Hamilton, you were probably the recipient of a brother and sister inbred encounter. There's Marco there. You speak fondly of your home area, Marco, don't you? That looks bad for Jack Debrenzini. It did look like in that big shot between Hooper and Debrenzini when they put in that hit, his head did get a little bit rattled. And I think in the replay here, we will see that he maybe got it bent a little bit the wrong way. And this is just like a song sliding away from there. Here it is. Moni Narawa runs at the line, and then Hooper makes the shot, and then it's head on head for Jack Debrenzini and Moni Narawa. Now, the thing is, are they going to say that that becomes a possible yellow or a red? Because of head on head, it would be harsh because Debrenzini, I think he just ended up in the wrong place because he was initially going to make a 1-on-1 and then it became about a 3-on-1, but he's got towel on top of his head, might have a little bit of a cut on the back of the head. How do you manage that? Maybe when he hit the ground face downwards. So yeah, he's going to be going off the field now for an HIA, watching the game live on TV with the commentary, bro. It's awesome, man. It's way better go the Chiefs, says Richard. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciate it. Yeah, big run. He was ready to make the tackle, waiting for the step, and then Hooper and Lonergan both just drove him straight into his skull. Will Nick Berry let the Chiefs win to try and restore his reputation? No. If anything, if his reputation's already gone, he might as well keep it going. Yeah, controversial finish, some would say, to that Brumbies versus Hurricane game. We won't go too in-depth with it. It's just one of those ones that you hope that Nick Berry, positioning-wise, is going to go all right in this contest because he is probably one of the most talked about referees in Super Rugby for the wrong reasons. A lot of people feel that he is one of the least consistent, but it's unfortunate. They're a boring team, the Chiefs. Why not go for the corner, says Stephen. I think with finals rugby, you want to be that converted try, a try ahead. Of course, if the Brumbies did get themselves a 7, they would take the lead, but you want as many 3-pointers as you can get in the early stages, mainly because you don't want to risk not taking on the points. We saw what happened with the Brumbies down the other end. They're a perfect example. They went for the corner, walked away still with 0 on the board. Although they also went for the 3 and still walked away with 0 on the board also. So I think that was why they went for the corner. Yeah, it's Damian McKenzie lining up this kick. Smile on the face. The crowd like that when he does that. Now, lining up the kick. Straight down the middle again for McKenzie, and that will now make the score 6-0 in favour of the Chiefs. But the Brumbies was in front before they took the corner, says Stephen Pope. Although not for this game. They tried when they were on 0. I assume you're talking last week against the Canes, I guess? Because, yeah, they were behind by 3 at the time that they did try and kick for the corner after going for the 3 beforehand. Now, nicely taken by Tupavai. It's a low score in semi-finals, 6 points so far on the board at this point. In the Crusaders versus Blues game, we had about 35 points on the board. Now, kick downfield, McKenzie finds the hands of Nola Alessio. He has made his way onto the field because of, nice wide cutout pass. Andy Muirhead, that is due to Jack Debrenzini. Struggling. I don't like McKenzie, never have if I'm honest, says Stephen. Is that also why you don't like the fact that they took the 3 in like a little tiny way because it was McKenzie who was kicking it? He's a player that some people are like, oh yeah, we don't mind him. And then other players or other people, I think it's because of the smile, is it? Falling asleep watching this game, says Naomi. I think you're probably one in about the thousands who are watching this game. 8 minutes remaining at the moment. Can't all have high-scoring games like the Crusaders did last night, can we? Now Tom Hooper going off to the left-hand side. I should actually mention that Tom Hooper's playing 7 for this game, so they did decide instead to switch Valentini back to 6, like he was for last week's fixture, and Samu is back at number 8. So I guess Hooper, that's a knock on from James Slipper on the ground, and he might be staying down here, James Slipper. Might have taken a bit of a head knock. Now, Brodie Retallick and Nick White are deciding to have a bit of a push and a shove. Retallick's asking him now, I just want to make sure that you've got life insurance, because you might need it.
Pop that weasel.
Brodie Retallick, I feel like there are a couple words being said there, such as you wait till the next breakdown. Because Brodie's one of those guys who's like, he seems very nice, but you don't want to get on his bad side. And Nick White, although could be strategic. Forward says, Daddy Fat Six, let's go the Brumbies, says Stephen. And also go the Chiefs, says Buller there, and get David Warner to come on as a sub. He'll score. As he Michael Hooper's cousin. Oh, is this high? That was actually like the schoolboy tactics of George Dyer was lying down on all fours. Brodie Retallick pushed him. Brodie Retallick never lost eye contact there with Nick White. And Anton Leonard-Brown possibly making the All Black squad. I think he will be in there. The big question mark for me in that midfield is whether or not Goodhue is going to be able to make the AB squad, because there are quite a few inside centres who are going relatively decently at the moment. Whether that is Jack Goodhue, whether you go with the Ramika Poihipi perhaps as another option in that midfield. Is Christchurch New Stadium still going ahead? It is. We actually saw it not too long ago. It was when we almost got hit by a tram. But they were talking about it over you know how they have like the microphone and whatnot for the trams. They ended up having that, and they were like, the stadium is going to be just down there. So we were like, oh yeah. But then, yeah, those trams go pretty quickly. And also we have got their big man on little man, says Daddy Fat Sacks, and Goodhue is playing well, says Joe Webby. And also we have got there, can James Slipper come back on later, or is he gone ski? It will depend a little bit. But they are just showing Simon Penny Finau. His forearm to the head of Slipper. It is once again a little bit interesting because a little bit similar to Jack Dibring-Zini, he wasn't initially going to be making the tackle where he was until the player then went into it, if that makes sense. And Geordie Barrett, best option for 12 for the AB, says Danston. Although a lot of people are worried about Geordie Barrett at the moment due to a couple of his most recent games. You'd have to say he started the season in form, but I think he's out of form now. Geordie Barrett. Hopefully he can find it soon, though, because World Cup just around the corner and a few internationals to warm up. Noel Alessio now lining up the 3 points here for the Brumbies to make the score 6 points to 3. And he has got it over. So that will now make the score 6-3. 34 minutes in at the moment. He ran into his bicep. Says Daddy Fat Six, and Chiefs still in holiday mode from Oz. Congratulations, Noel Alessio, 50th cap. Yeah, there's actually 3 players for the Brumbies bringing up 50th caps. It's Noel Alessio, Conor McKinnery, and then also one of the men in the starting lineup who I cannot quite think of. It might be Linikatau, in fact, who's bringing up his 50th game. We'll go with that anyway till proven otherwise. Now Nick White rolling this ball back just outside of the 22. I hope the ref is fair towards the Aussies, says Spider-Mick. Also, we have got the Hamish Pro Rugby Sevens tournament in this month. Any update? The next big Rugby Sevens one has taken place, I believe, in about October or somewhere around there. Yeah, we've got a little bit of time to go. Now, nice pass, Damien McKenzie, ball on the outside, but we are covering the Ashes for Shell, so be sure to check that out. Teronana Satoro, nice step, tackled by Lena Katau, who's straight back up to his feet. Just ended up losing the footing, though. Weber goes across the Tupavai. Brumbies, you can see that they are scattering, but also they're looking pretty composed in their defensive line, not allowing the Chiefs to make too many meters. We have got a donation from Jason Hamilton. Thank you very much. He has got the super sticker in there as well. Yeah, very hugely appreciated. Now Weber goes off to the left-hand side. George Dyer runs hard at Tom Hooper. The crowd let out a little bit of a grimace in that one. Now McKenzie, skip pass out to Alex Nankerville, shut down straight away by Andy Muirhead. 4 minutes remaining in this first half, and we are still yet to see a try score. Brodie Retallick bouncing out of one shot, ends up getting thighed to the face from Tupavai. Quick hands from Alex Nankerville, didn't even mean to, and it's worked out from Simon Penny Finau. Ball on the outside to Sean Stevenson, inside ball Narawa. Not able to hang on to it. It's the knock on from the Chiefs, but that is the best chance we have seen from either side of having a chance of scoring a try throughout this match. It has taken 36 minutes. It was close to 4 from Amoni Narawa to Sama Penifina as well, but the nice pass on the inside, I think it was Cadron Neville just got the fingertips to it. Narawa was shouting after not being able to hang on to it. McMillan was frustrated in the coaching box as well. Jason is feeling foxy today, Amish, says Ruth. And also, finally, Brumbies opened the account just before the halftime mark, says Vishal. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the last Super Rugby game that we've gone a full half without a try being scored. I know that Crusaders versus Crusaders versus Blues the first time round when it was 15-3 comes to mind, but I believe there was a try in that first half from the Crusaders. Oh boy, that was close, says Daddy Fat Sacks. Brumbies seem to be defending a lot. They've spent a lot of time defending, but not a lot of time conceding territory. Seems like the Chiefs have spent a lot of their time attacking in that same position between that halfway and the 22. Now, big push there from the Chiefs at scrum time. That ball's going to be an advantage now to the Chiefs short side. Luke Jacobson goes off nicely. Now only 5 meters out from the line. This is the chance. Big Brodie Retallick gets close to the line. Is he over? No, he's just short. Now Weber looking for his option. Who's he going to? Looks like he's going to be skipped past there. That's going to be held up, I believe. The Chiefs extremely close. They'll go back for the penalty again. Now, they've got a big decision to make because this gives them a 6-point lead if they go for the 3, or if they go for the corner. That would mean got a chance of extending that lead a bit more. I think Weber said go for the corner. So he's only co-captain. He's found Sam Cane. Has to ask him. He says go for the corner. Keep that pressure applied. I think this will be one of the first Chiefs lineouts inside of Chiefs territory. But they have gone for the scrum. In that case, after that big scrum against the feed, being able to push it hard. A stream in the cricket says, Ahmad, it is scheduled for the live stream. We'll be starting at 9:55. That one. And defend says Daddy Fat Sacks Farmer. Phil says, cheers. Thank you very much. I'll be in here, mate. Now, Samasoning Takiaho. This is the chance for the Chiefs. The Brumbies. You're looking to steal this one. No, in fact, they don't contest. Now, Tupavai. They're 5 meters out. Trying to work out who exactly has that ball. It has gone down about 3 meters out from the line. Looks like Samapeni Finau is lurking on that right-hand side if they decide to use him. It's always dangerous a couple meters out from the line. I'm remembering last week the way he was able to gain post-contact meters. Now Vai leaves it there for the number 1, Aiden Ross. Still on their side, still playing advantage. The Chiefs round the side. Tupavai taken down again. Looks like Samapeni Finau. Is he going to have a crack? Yes, he is. Goes around the side, builds up some steam, drives close. Held up again, says Nick Berry. And they're going to be going back for the penalty. Did he even look? Or did he just say held up? We'll go back. And Joe Weber had to be, says Vincent. Grant Nisbet just having a little bit of a laugh about, he was saying that Nick Berry had to make a big decision about it last week regarding that held up. And it is another penalty now to the Chiefs. Right, I assume Rob Valentini was the player who got under there. Looks like Brodie Retallick's going old school. He's just going to take the tap and go. Charges at the line, big Brodie Retallick. Now going to the short side. Takiaho with the step. Once again, just short. Although it looks like the Chiefs have tried to push this one over the line. It's going to be called as held up again by Nick Berry. It's 3 in a row. Held up, goal line dropout. Doesn't need to go upstairs. So Takiaho's going like this. He wants it checked. Nick Berry says no, he's a specialist when it comes to those ones close to the line. That's going to be the halftime siren as well, we've just heard. And what was that kick by Wright? Goal line dropout. Oh, he tried to find the touchline. Tom Wright kicked it low. And a money Noah stole it. It's a high tackle advantage to the Chiefs. We will explain what happened there in a very short moment. But first of all, the Chiefs now 5 minutes out on attack. Weber going off to McKenzie. This is an ideal chance. Tom Wright may have made the biggest mistake of the semi-final. Now Weber going back across to Sam Cane. Pretty much the gist of what happened was Tom Wright tried his best to try and find the touchline. Instead now, Samapeni Finau, ball on the outside to Narawa. Once again, 2 meters out. But yeah, he ended up kicking it straight into the hands of Moni Narawa out on the wing, who took it as clean as he could have. Still playing advantage. And now Samasoni Takiaho, 2 meters out. Stevenson decides he'll have a crack round the side of the breakdown. Doesn't go too well from only makes maybe 30 centimetres. Back across to Sama Penny now. He's dropped the ball in that breakdown. They'll go for another penalty. That was certainly not what Tom Wright had planned. He was trying to get that one into touch. Nick Berry going over now, giving the Brumbies the warning. That is their 7th or 8th penalty that they have now given away. Next one will go. The comment from Nick Berry for that high tackle. Good question. Deny once again, says Daddy Fat Sacks. Tell you what, the Brumbies are having to defend with every single part of their being at the moment throughout this half. Now taking the scrum here, the Chiefs. But Tom Wright's team, they won't appreciate that too much because they've gone from being able to go into half-time, sitting relatively even on the scoreboard, to now having to defend for an extra 3 or 4 minutes. And when you've been making so many tackles, that wears on you. Kia ora, bro, from a Cantab in Helmsley, North Yorkshire, says Andy Scott. Welcome in, mate, and welcome to official Draymond Green YouTube channel. That's a good D. And there is fish and chips in New Zealand from local New Zealand waters. Normally we have either elephant fish or some blue cods about sometimes. The ball's being fed in by the Chiefs. They'll be looking for another advantage. And if they do get one, there's a chance that a Brumbies player could go to the bin. That's being called as too much movement from Nick Berry. So they will now go back for another scrum. There's a small stadium from a major. Well, that's a small stadium from a major competition semi-final, and it's not full. Are they charging too much for the tickets? Yes, but also it's extremely wet there. It's been raining all throughout the half. So yeah, I don't think many people were keen on the outside seating for this matchup. And Rev will have to hide in the bunker after this one, says Bob Locke. Or you never know, he might get the job next week for the final. He's lucky. After I'm already, Ref, stop helping the Chiefs, says Daddy Fat Sacks. Although Tom Wright, he had the chance to put it into touch. He didn't quite get it. Sean Stevenson, like he's got a little bit of a shiner starting on that right-hand side. Kia ora from the Brass Monkey, Southland. Says Boots there, welcome in. Now big scrum again from the Chiefs off the back. Jacobson. Now that's a high tackle from Rob Valentini. But Nick Berry calls it as a knock-on. Oh, tell you what, and Valentini, he was pointing to the changing seats. He said, boys, let's get off the field as quickly as we physically can. Was this a high tackle from Rob Valentini? Round the neck to stop him from reaching out for the line. Controversy, you'd have to say there. No one's mentioning it, though. Maybe I'm just looking at the wrong things. Maybe it wasn't high. I don't know. And thanks for the heads up, mate, says Daddy Fat Sacks. And also time for the coffee and the chips, says Roof. And also whoever wins is going to get pumped next week from the Crusaders, says Andy Mage. And also they're going to have to move their sweet asses over the line soon, says Roof. Now, I should mention that is Roof's comment, not my own. For anyone who is just tuning in. Victory Canberra, says Daddy Fat Sacks. For halftime, 6 points to 3, one of the lowest scoring Super Rugby Pacific games. Not the lowest scoring that we've seen throughout this week. Oh, sorry, not this week, this year. Penalty try, says Bob Log. Well, it's an interesting one because it certainly stopped them from propelling towards the try line. Now, I don't know whether or not they saw it the same way that I did. I'm normally from a pretty unbiased point of view, though, so it surprised me a little bit that they didn't check it. Also, the 3 that were close to being over the line, they didn't check any of them, did they? Mainly because straight away Calder's held up. Whoever wins should just stay home, not turn up next week. And Nick's mustache said it was okay or wasn't okay. Tackle, says Fleshin. And tough and solid game tonight. Go the Chiefs, says Marlon. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting second half because I will quickly get some stats up. What are the TAB odds? We will see that as well. I assume that the Brumbies are probably still sitting right in this contest, maybe about, I'd say $5 underdogs. I don't see them any lower. Yeah, $4.50 for this matchup. And also Dry, says Blues Nate. And Chiefs should just start a big brawlty in the game. Chiefs 6-3 Brumbies final score, says Stone Cold. Although if they start the brawl, then they probably get the default loss, don't they? And if the A Crusaders were in Pool B with Ireland, Box, Scots, will they progress to the quarterfinals, says Annoy? Very hard to tell. It's always one of those if, buts, and maybes, isn't it, with international rugby, because it's a whole different game. We've seen many players over the years. I'm going to use it as an example, but I don't mean it in a bad way. Richie Moonga, for example. A couple years ago, when he went to international level, sometimes he didn't quite find it. So these young players who are only playing at provincial level to then go, hey, we're going to put you in a World Cup draw. Some of them wouldn't quite find their momentum. I don't think. Tackles made 102 by the Brumbies. That's kind of surprising. I thought they'd made a few more than that. They've only missed the 13 tackles. Chiefs, they've made 81. They have missed 5. So not too many line breaks opening up here. Clean breaks. We've seen one clean break for the Chiefs. That was the runner Sean Stevenson with that offload to Amoni Narawa that almost led the first try of the match for the Chiefs. Other than that, though, it's just been hard carrying. Not too many meters carried for either of these sides. 236 for the Chiefs, 245 for the Brumbies. Joe Root reached 100 last night. He did, yeah. I watched it from my bed. Watched that last little patch where the English bowlers were going at the Aussies as well for Kawaja and Warner. It was heating up, and that is why we have got that Ashes live stream in about 2 hours' time. It's going to be a great game, or great second day of that one. All Blacks have the easiest pull, says Trent. It's a tricky one, though, because whoever they end up playing in the quarterfinals is heavily dependent on how well they play against France. Do the warm-ups have a warm-up game? They do. They have quite a few. They've got the Rugby Championship to start with, but then after that, they have got actually the Springboks 1 week before the World Cup starts. It's a very boring semi-final. Crusaders is launching at this game. Says, I assume that is laughing at this game, maybe from multi-trade. I think autocorrect took over a bit there, didn't it? And All Blacks have the... Oh, no, I read that one. I'm just asking why don't they bring overseas teams for Super Rugby? It's mainly due to the schedule, the travelling. Because we've seen with the URC, it's possible. South Africa heading up to the north. They're on the same time zone, so that works perfectly as well. But, yeah, normally, I think it's just the travel side of things. New Zealand side or an Aussie side or anyone along those lines don't really want to have to travel to somewhere like Argentina. Like Argentina, beautiful place, but it just means that you're always playing at random hours, isn't it? Stevenson is the truth. Says Booth and tight game this far. I like games like this. Feels much like, no. And good morning from Loch Lomond. The Chiefs need composure here, says Eric. They should play this in the afternoon when it's a bit warmer, says Bob Log. But then also it's been absolutely bucketing down with rain. So that was always going to make it a little bit more of a low-scoring contest anyway. But the fact that neither side have been able to get themselves over the line as of yet makes it very, some would say intriguing, some would say exciting, some would say nerve-wracking for the second half. Which side is going to be able to make the best? You on the team, says Vincent. I was on a rugby team once. I stopped playing, though, because I was out on the wing and never touched the ball. We had a greedy halfback and a greedy fly half, and I was pretty much just there as a statue out on the wing. Like, if you tried to go over and get the ball from the breakdown instead of them, you got told off by the coach, and he'd tell you to piss off back out and let the two boys play with it. That's a weird sentence. And what on earth is the halftime show doing? They've got some lights going, don't they? It's probably a sponsored deal. I remember when they acted like there was like a T-Rex, didn't they, for Jurassic Park? Or what one was that? That they were like, there's a big thing that's making the ground shake. And then it was just like an ad for one of the upcoming shows that were just around the corner. So who's the new AB's cap? Being named tomorrow. Me thinking Roygard, Tomaiti Williams, Stevenson, and possibly Summer Pennies over Frizzell if they take an extra Lucy. Well, Marco, that is a brilliant question, and we are going to be discussing it probably about, I'll be honest, we'll probably do like an hour build up to the All Blacks squad announcement, and we'll just be going through, looking at all the positions, deciding on who we think should be in that All Blacks side. There's a few guys who definitely deserve the chance. I like Roygard at the moment. I feel like for me, I would pick him over Christie, which I know annoys quite a few Blue supporters, but it's just, I feel that he has been the more dangerous and also talks about 15 times less than Christie, so that always helps. Yeah, they've got some blokes running on the field with some lights and whatnot. They've decided to do with lasers. Telling Grace, it's a shame that he's injured again because, yeah, if he wasn't injured, I think he would have a real good crack just because I know that he's got that fight in him to just keep on going and going throughout a game, bring that physicality. Which is interesting because back when we played cricket together, he wasn't really a huge guy. And he also didn't really do a huge amount sometimes, but now he turned himself into a workhorse. This was a long time ago anyway, and just left Sam Cane out, says Eric B. Although, Sam Cane, to be honest, he hasn't been too bad throughout the season. I think if you're looking at last season, a lot of people would say no to Sam Cane. But if you're looking at this season, the man's been solid enough, I would have to say. So far throughout this game, he's made 8 tackles, same as Jacobson, same as Vi. Leonard Brown's made 9. Ross has made 9, and then we saw 10 tackles made from Samisoni Taukei'aho. Lachlan Lonergan, though, he's been quite the workhorse. 16 tackles made throughout that first half. 12 made by Cadron Neville. So all the forwards for the Brumbies working extremely hard. And also, Hamish, give us next try call. Who's going to get it? I'm going to go Simon Penifina. He was close to scoring one earlier on. So I'm going to say that he will be the one who walks away with it. And also, do you have the team tackle count? So according to the Super Rugby website, which are close to the right stats, but sometimes are a little bit wrong. Should mention, first of all, though, territory 58%. Chiefs, 62 tackles made. 94 tackles made by the Brumbies, 10 tackles missed by the Brumbies, and only 2 tackles missed by the Chiefs. Was the rain seemingly to slow down at all? It seems like the second half, it looks a little bit dry. We haven't seen as much rain, I don't believe. But then I don't know whether or not that's just because it's gotten a bit darker, so it's harder to see the rain. But from the looks of it, I want to say there is less rain. The commentators on the sideline didn't have their umbrellas up when they were talking about it, so that's very promising because before the game, they had umbrellas. They had pretty much the whole big canopy over the top of them. Will the Parrots make the All Blacks? I think all 3 of them are in there anyway. Like they're just Ian Foster's boys. So I think they'll all be in there. Scott, I feel, has really done well. He's probably the pick of the Barretts, if I'm being honest, with his work at lock and definitely with a couple other injuries coming for them at locking, such as Whitelock at the moment, Tui Piloto. I think Barrett's the guaranteed Barrett. I should say Scott before that, or else it sounds weird, doesn't it? But yeah, I would say that Scott is the guaranteed Barrett, or my favourite Barrett at the moment in terms of form. Blues were only a powerhouse when Momoa when combined with Waikato 1996, 1997. A number of the Blues will be fortunate if they get picked for the ABs, says Mysterion. And do you think New Zealand players should be able to play for Aussie Super Rugby teams and still be eligible for the ABs? I think so. I find it weird that they don't allow it, but I guess it's just because they want to lock them in and make sure that they're not playing good rugby for anyone else. Scooter is the next AB's captain, says Eric B. He is. It has been confirmed. That old Razor Robinson. Oh, you're talking Scott Barrett, Scooter. Could be an interesting one. I'm sure he brings some physicality to the coaching box. Should mention anyone who's new, sure to leave a like and subscribe. We're currently on the road to 25,000 subscribers. I'm going to have a quick look, see what we are sitting on at the moment. And the answer is we are on 24,544. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's see how high we can get before the end of the half. That sounds dodgy. Let's see how. No, I don't know how to say it without saying high, but then high sounds like we're doing some other activities. Hit the subscribe button. That's the best way of saying it. My AB Steen, Sean Stevenson, Mark DeLear, Will Jordan, Fine, Nuku, Caleb Clark, Fit, Rico, Ioane, Mwonga, Barrett, Aaron Smith, and Finley. You're going to need some forward Spider, Mick. And that one, and William, give the ball to the winger or Nick White, says Roof. And so does Weber get in the ABs after not being one of last year? Yep. For me, Weber's in there. I mean, I thought he was extremely unlucky to miss out last year. And I feel like if there was the question of you can take 2 out of the 3 of Weber, Roygaard, and Weber, Roygaard, Fakatava, or Christie. If you could only pick 2 of those guys, I would go Weber and Roygaard. How much instead on high? Says Xavier. And also go the Brumbies go, says Green Zone Boy. Hi, says Vincent. Welcome in, mate. And anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like and leave a like. That is the part of it. We'll cut it off there. Be sure to leave a like on the live stream if you haven't already. Second half just around the corner. They will have quite a few ads because revenue seems like it's the way to do it. Although not as many ads as if this game was in Australia. They normally do it a little bit longer there, about 3 extra minutes. I like Ratama, says Mumbo. Well, it's that question of if you had to pick between Roygaard and Ratama, if you were allowed one of them, who would you go with? And Ratama's been good, but I would probably edge Roygaard. Just because Ratama, I feel like they haven't really given him enough time throughout this season for the Chiefs. Like, he's been good when he's been on the field, but the fact that he hasn't really had a huge amount of game time would concern me a little bit in the comparison. Hamish can have a pasta with extra sauce, says Ruth. Cheers. Don't mind a pasta if it's all right. And I'm complaining, and I don't know why, because it's a close game. And yesterday I was moaning because it was a blowout. Fans, says Flesh. And yeah, see, that's the thing. If this game was a high-scoring one and close, I think the big thing is people just want it to be close, don't they? That's the main part of it. We got a donation from Trent Jenkins. Thank you very much, mate. Richie Mwongo or Damien McKenzie. I assume that's our starting fly half. I would probably go with me personally, with the backline that I can see as an option. I would have Mwonga because my starting nine would be Smith, and I feel like him and Mwonga work a little bit better than we've seen with Smith and McKenzie, mainly because it's a little bit of an uncharted territory. So I would have Mwonga, and then I would probably have Goodhue or Leonard Brown as my number 12 on the inside. So if it's Goodhue, that works very nicely with Richie Mwonga. But like McKenzie's certainly still a good option somewhere out there on the park. You're doing well, Hamish. A lot of people enjoy your knowledge and fairness and how you commentate. Keep up the good work, says Mysterion. Thank you very much, mate. I want to be on the, or you want to be on the edge of your seat right till the end, says Joe Webby. Yeah, I feel like at the moment, this game is one try away from completely either opening up or shutting down. Both of these sides, though, you can't afford to make early mistakes in this half or else it could end up heavily costing you. I might some Monica Fettuccini says Fluffy, and DMAC is in with Mwonga, both Barretts and Geordie misses out. And it's never McKenzie, says Michael Gray. Definitely not because you also are a Crusader supporter, Michael. So you probably have the whole 15 if you were allowed. Go the Brumbies go, says Green Zone. Just talking to the Brumbies coach at the moment. 10 defenders beaten so far for the Chiefs. But we've only seen one clean break, and that was from Sean Stevenson, who has only touched the ball maybe twice so far. Once when he was out on the wing, and the other when he was trying to get involved in that breakdown, taking the quick pick and go. And one on Hamish. Is this a good semi? Give it heaps, both teams, says Peter. Yeah, it's a close game, and a lot of people, they wanted to see these two sides go down to the wire. Some people I saw were saying that the Chiefs were going to absolutely dominate the Brumbies in this matchup, but hasn't been the case. The Brumbies in finals playoff games, they seem to just step up that little bit. And Chiefs all the way, says Letiana. And also, I can't believe he's still the coach, says Daddy Fat Sacks. And Fossil pick Bowden Barrett at 10, Clark at 11. Offer Nepo as the starting props pro. If you're Foz. Will they pick Leicester Whainā Nuku knowing he's leaving the country? I think based off form and based off a player who you probably want to have in your World Cup squad, I would say that they'll still take him. Yes, it doesn't develop anything for a younger player, but at the moment, I feel like it's probably a very good option to have in that squad. But the Chiefs, they have made no changes to their starting lineup here. The Dingo stole my baby, mate, says Daddy Fat Sacks. And Will Jordan has to be a fullback for the AB, says Joe Webby. He's actually finding some very good form at the moment, Will Jordan. He had a couple rough weeks when he first came back, but then from there, he just slowly kept on building, and now he's found his form like he had before he was injured. Right. James Slipper, they said that he failed his HIA, but they learnt that that was not the case. So now I think he's back out there on the field. Thanks for reminding me, Hamish. Not one-eyed, though, says Michael. No, not at all. Right, 2 changes made for the Brumbies. Fun Nick makes his way onto the field, and Noel Alicio will still be out there at 10 due to Jack Dibringzini getting injured a little bit earlier on. But 1 line break. Brumbies, they will be kicking off. They are yet to have one throughout this match. Why did the ABs name the squad 1 week early? I think it's just to try and relieve some of the pressure in some regards. I agree with you, though, because it's kind of weird, because what if someone gets injured in the final, then you lose that player? So I would have thought that after it would be a good option, but maybe there's a rule that you have to announce it before a certain point or something. Yeah, not too sure. Now, Weber fires back into the pocket to McKenzie, who's right on his own goal line, looking for the touchline, and does manage to find it. Roger the Dodger Randall, and go the Chiefs, says Josh. And also, I agree, they shut the Blues down right from the start, and the defence was tight, says Mysterion. And Canberra, oi, 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 says Daddy Fat Sacks. I did mention earlier on about the odds for this matchup. The Brumbies, they are still considered as the underdogs here, but not by a huge margin at the moment. That is due to how close this game has been sitting throughout that first little while. It doesn't make sense to name a team 1 week early, says Joe Webby. Yeah, because all it does is there's going to be players who get selected, and then if they get injured, then you've got to find another player to replace them. Now back across here, Nick White goes to Lachlan Lonergan, neither side budging throughout the first 41 minutes. Tom Wright now close to the touchline, not quite getting through. White feeding it off to the right-hand side here, or not. A little bit of a counter right there from the Chiefs, slowing it down now. Tom Hooper gets the ball up. Sam Kane in through the back. Was it legal? Yes, it wasn't. Sam Kane wins the penalty for his Chiefs side again. Tell you what, he's been working hard in this game, that is for sure. Sam Kane, let's go, Raro, says Fluffy, and expose the Chiefs' defence, says Daddy Fat Sacks. I mean, I think they've made 70 tackles, missing 5 or something like that. So the defence is pretty solid throughout this fixture so far. But whether or not the Brumbies can find those little gaps, maybe finding those offloads could be crucial in the second half. And tick up some points. Now Samasoni Tolkiaho throwing the ball in nicely, taken by Brad Weber. Back across now to Luke Jacobson. Now, I would be inclined to put Rameka Poihipi on the field very soon for Alex Nankerville. I know that's probably not a sub that they'll be thinking about, but I think that that would be a good option because Rameka Poihipi's been very solid and he gets you those extra meters every once in a while. Ollie Satsford now going to the right-hand side. Nick White passes off a little bit high from Brody Retallick, but slips down the body. Now back to the right again, Noel Alicio. Down the middle of the field. McKenzie has to take it at the awkward angle. Now moving up towards the 22. Charging back. Going with the low kick down towards the Brumbies 22. Stefan has said, dude, can you focus on commenting the match? I mean, I will be watching your after-match analysis anyway. We don't normally have a lot of after-match analysis on the channel. But sorry, Stefan, if I strayed away mentioning stats. Now Nick White goes off to Rob Valentini, loses his footing there. Amoni Narawa over the ball and wins the penalty again for the Chiefs. And 18 sees the Tractor Sport. Mate, hope you are doing very well. Low scoring game between these two sides. Going to be an interesting one. Still 37 minutes remaining, and you can see some deep breaths being taken by the Brumbies. They have had to make a lot more tackles in this game compared to the Chiefs. I won't mention the stat because Stefan might get angry. Now, Damien McKenzie will be looking to kick this one towards the touchline. The Chiefs a little bit more territory. Brumbies will win. The Chiefs are overrated, says Danston. And also, you get Eddie Jones watching and yelling the cowbells. Advantage Canberra. Those little kicks haven't been too successful for either side throughout this matchup so far. Samasoni Takiaho about to go with the line out throw. Nick Berry blows the whistle, saying that the Chiefs are closing the gap. Takiaho throwing the ball and Chiefs winning this in the last 25 minutes. Here's Stefan. Now running hard at the line, Anton Leonard-Brown. Weber back to the right-hand side now. Aiden Ross. Just seems like both sides need that little break. Here it is for the McKenzie and Stevenson combo, but slapped back by Andy Muirhead. Shut down the move, and now the Brumbies back in position again. Lachlan Lonergan made 16 tackles in that first half. Back to Cadron Neville. Sam Kane told no. Does get out of there. Now Nick White looking to use the box kick here again. Richie Morgan and Smith. Something in there. Smith are ineffective at AB's level. And also, so we got Eddie Jones for at least the next 5 years, says Bob Log. Although he did mention that he wanted to give it up after this World Cup. Didn't he? Knock on there this time from the Chiefs, then from the Brumbies. So it will now be a scrum feed in favour of the away. So the Chiefs need to take more advantage of the Brumbies' mistakes, says David the Mod. Big jump in the air from it. Then Satoro just knocking it on in the process. Challenging with Andy Muirhead. And then the knock on from Tamati Tua. Looks like Pete Samu might have some sort of injury here to his shoulder. We'll have a little bit of a stoppage. Looks like Sean Stevenson also might have some sort of injury. I think it was just getting hit in the diaphragm. Stevenson and go says Crystal. And yes, those cauliflower is the roof. But so far throughout the season for Sean Stevenson, he's had 11 tries, 7 tries, that's over 1,000 carry meters. He's had 24 line breaks, 32 defenders beaten. He's had a very good season for the Chiefs. Although I will mention in the last couple of weeks, he's been a little bit more quiet. But this game, we saw that nice line break. Actually, the only line break we've seen throughout the whole game was by Sean Stevenson. Who knows, says Gareth? Yes. And we'll be seeing early replacements. Very physical match, says Stefan, and harden up, says Jason. And there was Sean Stevenson, I assume. That it was, or maybe Pete Samu. Both of them staying down a little bit. Although it's one of those ones as well, it slows down the clock. Each side a little bit more of a deep breath. Now the scrum feed. Good bench here, the Brumbies. Corey Toole, player that they can use later on in the fixture. Also alongside that, they have got, Noel Alessio, he's already out on the field. Ryan Lonergan, he can slot over kicks from about 55 metres out if necessary as a Bock. Arrays All Black scares me. A morning Hamish and chat says, Just Carl, welcome in, mate. We had another sub made, or we all good? No, everyone's still happy enough. No one going off with their injuries. And now, wait, hang on. So they've actually said that it was a knock-on first by the Brumbies, so now it's going to be a Chiefs scrum feed. But the final winner of this game will verse the Crusaders. If it is going to be the Chiefs, they'll play in Hamilton. If it is the Brumbies, they'll play in Christchurch. Now, Brad Weber feeds the ball in. Onto the right-hand side. Damien McKenzie. Short pop pass up to where Tenai Nana Satoro. Tackle well by Noel Alessio. Weber back across to the right-hand side. McKenzie considered the kick and the pass, but instead decides to take it on. We have got a donation from Distracted Sports. And there as well. We'll do 2 cents a favour. As long as you come back to Hamish, give him a like on his stream. Give him getting $1 a like. Once a new tab. What? I didn't read that at all well, did I, Tony? I already sure though while my brain resets. Open a new tab, like his stream, and come back to Hamish. Says Distracted Sports. Now going short. Oh, no, I've worked it out now. So you're saying give 2 cents a like on his stream, and then for every like that we get on that one, I assume you're donating $1. I think that's going to be a nice little bit of a counter ruck there. It's like strategic marketing, isn't it, Tony? Now ball available for the Brumbies. Use it to the left-hand side. They're 10 metres out from their own line now. A little bit of a counter ruck there from Jacobson. Is it legal? No. Not allowed to. And now Nick White, once again, will roll this ball back and going to try and get himself kicked towards the touchline. Oh, Nick White does knock it backwards. Almost gets in a bit of trouble. 2 cents has a like and I'm back. Please like here too, folks, says Gareth. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It is hugely appreciated you guys all being here. We will be here for the next one, which is taking place between the Crusaders and the victor of this game. And at the moment, we are yet to see a try scored in this contest. We saw more tries scored in the first 2.5 minutes of the Crusaders Blues game than we've seen in the first 47 minutes of this one. A 98 cent should be good, eh? $1, says Nate. And like Strategic George, says Nazi Williams. But Pete Samu now going to be going off the field. That is for Luke Raymer. Tony is like New Zealand's version of the Iron Sheik, says Jason. Now 22 metres out, the Chiefs in possession again here. Throwing it deep. Goes to Brodie Retallick. It's not straight. And yes, Ruth, then use the Vulcan Def Grip. We'll go like this and like this. Yeah, just going straight to Brodie Retallick. And also we have got there, sorry Hamish, if that's tricky, I'm not fronting the cash on 2 cents stream. Says Distracted Sports. No, I got confused at what it meant for a start, but now I understand. Are you on his stream as well, Tony? Are you guys doing like a co-commentary thing? Or is it just him by himself? And going to be such an anticlimax. Kane Foster media time, says Mumbo Jumbo, and Bret Hart ends Stone Cold wrestling career. And then you could say Goldberg ended Bret Hart's. Oh no, he's on with the fam on 2 cents. We'll give him a like. He's up to 73 now. Are you coming on for a post-match chat, Tony, at all on this one? Do let me know. That's going to be another penalty, this time to the Brumbies at scrum time. No, he's with his folks. Does he ever invite you around while his folks around as well, Tony? Oh, no, you guys do the streams normally from your house, don't you? Never mind. It marks the reason that a lot of us have found Hamish. There's Gareth there. Now Noel Alessio. Kicking it downfield there. Oh, almost didn't find the touchline. This game could be a tryless one. There's a possibility of it. Noza Takiaho lost a point for that throw in, says Daddy Fat Six. And go to the Chiefs, says Paul. And rugby is so dire these days, says Big Boy Games. Now Ryan Or in fact, sorry, Lachlan Lonergan. The ball slips through their hands, and now the Chiefs pick it up with Samasoni Talkiaho. Missed tackle there from Nick White, bounces out of it. Now Weber goes across to Damien McKenzie, kicks it down the middle of the field once again, trying to play that territory game. And that is due to the running game of both sides not really getting going, being stopped very quickly multiple times. Now Sean Stevenson off to Damien McKenzie, nice pass to him. Missed tackle from James Slipper, the man who they thought might have been off with the HIA, but he has now returned back out onto the field. Atol Kiaho, big run forward. Luke Raymer tackles him on the halfway line. Doesn't get the turnover now. The Chiefs with Tupavai goes across to Damien McKenzie. Looking for that kick in behind. Let's go straight to Tom Wright, who was waiting for it near the touch line. And it's a good kick downfield from Tom Wright. That is one thing that both sides have done extremely well, is those kicks from inside of their own 22. Ollie Norris now making his way out onto the field. That is for Aiden Ross. I still feel Nankerville needs to go off for Poi Hippie. As the change I would make if I was in charge, but I'm not in charge, so I cannot make it. Nicely taken by Tupavai again. Weber across to Moninara with the first receiver off the line out. Didn't go for the offload there. Instead, just sets it up for Weber. Goes off to Sama Penny Finau. Runs straight at his opposite number, Rob Ballatini. Altaukiaho on the short side, taken down by James Slipper. Brumbies lost against the Canes, so ref needs to correct it now. McKenzie goes across to Sean Stevenson, breaking almost through. Muirhead right on the ball, though, wins the penalty for the Brumbies. 50 minutes in, still no try for either of these sides. Stop kicking Canberra attack, says Daddy Fat Six. No flair, little excitement, boring as, says Big Boy Games. I mean, some people don't enjoy a low-scoring contest. I've enjoyed it. I think there's been plenty of moments throughout this game where I think defense, if you don't enjoy watching teams defend, you're going to hate a low-scoring game, aren't you? Because at the end of the day, if you're a guy who's like, I want to see tries, I want to see the flair, I want to see the offloads, and then, you know, people are making a lot of tackles, you'll be like, nah, don't like it. And if the Brumbies win, will anyone give the Crusaders Reddit? I assume that's, will anyone give the Crusaders credit? Possibly from Peter there. I mean, it will be a home final at Orange Theory Stadium. They are currently sitting 29 from 29 in the games. Right, they're bringing on Josh Ioane for Tino Nana Satori. Surely Nankerville's off too. Doesn't look like it, though. Going to be a reshuffle here. McKenzie going to go to fullback. Sean Stevenson out to the wing. Thrown in. Nicely taken there by Nick Frost. Now Lachlan Lonergan. Held by Ollie Norris. He's still inside of their own territory. The ball bounces out the side. The Chiefs all have their hands in the air like they just don't care, and it's going to be a Chiefs penalty. Right, this is a kickable 3 for McKenzie if he wants it. From about maybe 42 out on the angle. Is it going to be one that the Chiefs decide that 3 points would be a good option, or do they kick for the corner, try and go for the jugular, and put this Brumbies side under more pressure? That would rely on a straight line out. Looks like they are going to be kicking for the 3 points here, the Chiefs. Currently 52 minutes in. A little mistake there. D-Max says Gareth. And we have got a donation from Marco. He said, let's get the knives hot, boys. Here come the Chiefs. Nice. You guys tried to teach me about that one other time, and I still don't know how it works. And take the 3, mate. Says Daddy Fat Six, and this is payback time for the Hurricanes try. The ref called held up. McKenzie, he's got the distance. There's still a little bit of rain falling, I just saw from this angle. Sitting 100% success today, Damien McKenzie, 46 meters out from the line. From the posts, I should say. Comes D-Mac. An important kick. This to make the score 9 points to 3. Still a converted try would get the Brumbies back into the match. But this extra 3 points could be absolutely crucial. McKenzie lining it up. Strikes it decently straight down the middle. Cool, calm, and collected. Now the lead sitting 9 points to 3 in favour of the Chiefs. I got the tomato sauce, says Blues Nate. And Canberra will be, or has been defending well, says Daddy Fat Sacks and Streaker 00. Look at those watermelon. Says it was there from Spider Mick. And also Sam, a walking cane is too small. France will bully him, says Big Boy Games. Although from what we've seen throughout the Super Rugby season, he's actually almost been the pick of the sevens for the ABs. Because of those extra tackles he's been making, he's already got himself, I believe, 2 turnovers in the breakdown for this game. And also we have got there, FMG, you growing a goatee, or did you forget to shave this morning? It's just not growing properly. I think it's the best way of describing it. I think George describes it the best way. He says that, well, I don't know if I can say it on stream, but pretty much he compares my facial hair to somewhere else on the human body. Now, Tom Wright, nice run forward there for the Brumbies. Another attacking chance inside of Chiefs territory here for them here. I see it here about 4 times in a row. Nice run from Nick Frost. Now Nick White, across to Lulusio. Goes to Tamati Tua. Oh, big shot on him by Sam Cane. Physicality. He's stuck in the breakdown though, and it looks like he might have some sort of injury here to his shoulder. That was a big shot coming in. We got another donation. Thank you very much, David. Hugely appreciate it. Come on, Chiefs. This might be Sam Cane gone. How much has he injured himself? It looked like the shoulder. Although he's holding the fingers here. The shoulder or the hand for Sam Cane. Either way, it's not looking too good for him. It's a massive shot coming in on Tamati Tua, though. Drives him into the turf like it was a breakdown. But unfortunately for him, I think he ended up with his... It's not yet, I don't think. The replay goes a bit longer. I believe it's when someone joins the breakdown that Sam Cane gets that little bit of a knock to the shoulder. Looks like he's just going to grit it out, though. He's got a little bit of a grimace on the face. He's like, nah, we're good. Brumbies now kicking this one to the 22 off the penalty. George doesn't have a filter. No, he doesn't. No filter at all. Will this be over soon, says Connor? That is how rugby works. There's 25 minutes remaining in the game. And has George seen that before, says Obi? He's seen his own. He compares it to his. And AB's captain coming off, says Daddy Fat Sacks, not yet. Looks like he's going to be sticking out there a little bit longer, Sam Cane, although a few changes now being made by the Brumbies. Okay, Ryan Lonergan now on the field for Nick White. Who else is that jogging off? That's McKennery making his way onto the field. That is for Lachlan Lonergan. I think I'm in Hamish's dog box, says Gareth. No, I'm still reading them just in my head. Now Lonergan going across the Tamati Tua. Side of the 22 at the moment here for the Brumbies. Valentini. Another good crash run. Lonergan slinging it across the Noah Lalicio. This is where the Brumbies, they can get that crisp back line like they had for their game up against the Hurricanes. This is where they could find themselves some success, maybe crossing the line for the first time in the semi-final. Lachlan Lonergan just gone off the field. Conor McKennery. Looks like he's already got a little bit of a limp going, unfortunately, and he's only just made his way onto the park. Now, good inside ball from Lonergan. Big run forward from Fun Nick as well. Now the penalty goes the way of the Brumbies for no clear release. And this would end up closing the gap to only 3 points here again. Gareth's messages needs to be in the head or red in the head first. I want to see a tired Chiefs team for next week, says Lachlan. She's going to be the champs this year, says Aranda. So far, the penalties conceded, we've seen 4 out of the last 5 have been conceded by the Chiefs side. And what Nick White's mustache is particularly awesome today, says Ruth. Jeez, big shots coming in from Sama Penny Now, it's a good question of who would actually go off the field for this loose forward trio to bring on Peter Gus-Soakula. As far as the penalty spot, says Stefan, they're about 10 metres out. It's a give-me kick for Lonergan if he wants it. Or if they give it to Noah Lalicio instead. 23 minutes remaining. Shout out to us, says Liz Rex. And go the Crusaders. Beat the Chiefs next week, says Lachlan. Will be Noah Lalicio. Now to make the gap only 7 points. Of course, with this game being played in rain, we thought it would be a little bit more low scoring, but not quite to this extent. I think the longest game I've seen without a try in most recent times that we've actually commentated was the game between Counties Manukau and North Harbour. I believe we didn't see a try until about the 72nd minute. This game's starting to head in that, Finau's gone off the field. I thought he was going well, so I'm a penny Fido, but he has been taken off for Soakul, so that answered the question of who it was who was going to be taken off. He gets a round of applause from the FMG crowd, and the Chiefs now kick us back off with the score sort of 9-6. A little bit of a mistake there from Neville, but it went backwards. The Brumbies still in position. Now Lonergan going back across. Tell you what, there's a thingy that's like anytime try scorer or first try scorer in a game of rugby. And I think for no one to score is like $61. So anyone who backed that might be very happy at the moment. as long as it can. Oh, what a catch! Diving catch from Josh Ioane. Look at like he was out in the outfield in the Ashes. Now Damian McKenzie back to Sam Cane. Nankerville option on the outside, decides instead to take on the run. And Amoni Narawa now has to join the breakdown to protect the ball. A Weber going off. No, gets himself almost cleaned out. That's going to be another penalty advantage and a penalty for the Chiefs. They can now get that gap back out to 6 points if they want it. Tackle, kick, eat, sleep, repeat, yawn. This game is going to ruin semi-finals, and the stadium is only 5/8 full, says Big Boy Games. The benefit of life is you don't have to watch it. You know, there's a thing that's called like turning it off if you're not enjoying the game. You know, there's probably some other bit of golf on, maybe. I think that's having their own PGA Tour just around the corner. In fact, mine have just started. Do we have the cricket today? We do. It's going to be starting at 9:55. How far the penalty they haven't shown yet, but it's going to be about maybe 45 or so. I like to wait till they have the exact number before saying it too much. And what did I miss? You missed no tries so far throughout this game. No, they take on the corner rather than taking on the three. Now 22 metres out from the line. Samasoni Taokiaho, nicely taken by Big Brody Retallick. Now offloaded inside ball from Cortez Aratama. They have also decided to take Weber off the bar. Bullet from Fiji says, Abhishek, welcome in, mate. You are doing well. Love this chess match, mate, says Michael Gray. The most dire game of rugby ever. Once again, there's a thing called an off button. You know, no one's holding you at gunpoint saying you have to watch the semi-final between these two sides. Oh, no hands. The breakdown now. Luke Jacobson goes back across. Love your commentator, Hamish says, Kevin. Thank you very much, mate. And yes, the corner says Poots, although it wasn't quite the corner. They got it to the 22, so they're still a little bit out, but they are now 22 metres out from the line here. McKenzie does the step, breaking nicely. Ryan Lonigan makes the tackle there as well. Thanks for the broadcast in here in the Canary Islands. Nice one. Hopefully it's nice weather there. It was bucketing down earlier on at FMG, which I think is why this game has been slightly lower scoring. For a semi-final game, it's okay, says Lachlan. Yeah, I think a lot of people have enjoyed the old school feel of this contest. Because how often in modern rugby do you see games that don't have tries scored for 60 minutes? It's not very often at all. Nick Berry trying to act like he's playing a piano. What's he trying to decide here? There's bodies everywhere. We're going to give the scrum to the Brumbies, says Nick Berry there. Watching from England. I'm from Romania, says Stefan. And what is your team? I don't really have one. I know that sounds like, oh, you're lying. But yeah, I'm pretty impartial overall. I like the Hurricanes kit the best out of anyone, but I live in the South Island, so I'm halfway in between Crusaders and Highlanders in terms of location, so I'm pretty much just annoying. Best way to describe it. A lot of pars in the major, says Obi. And been a while since Richie got some meat pie, says Gareth. And Richie Wong, I think last game he scored in was how many games ago? About 3? Somewhere around there. I should do commentary on these doing that cheese rolling event overseas. Yeah, I saw that. Hey, cheese rolling. Throw yourself full speed down a hill and hope that you don't end up absolutely bottling it. Like, I feel like that's one thing that looks fun, and then you do it and you're like, maybe not. Hamish have a Chiefs jersey, though, says Ed, although I do also have a Hurricanes jersey. So, you know, got a donation there from Lachlan. Thank you very much, mate. Why is the rugby ball not round? There's Stefan. It's easier to pass if it's this shape, isn't it? That's charged down. Alex Nankerville goes into touch. Yeah, I mean, just for fun, isn't it? Oval shape makes more sense. Aerodynamic. There you go. And I just don't lie. Who said that? Says Nazi. And very disappointed with the Blues' performance. I think a lot of people were, unfortunately. And good that this game isn't a one-sided Chiefs win. And that's another thing that a lot of people expected, was that the Chiefs were going to dominate this game. But the Brumbies, they have certainly shown up for this one. A complete yawn fest, says Big Boy. I wish you'd go to sleep. But now Cadron Neville charges up 38 metres out for the long. Lonigan. I up to Noah Lolesio, I should say. Oh, McKenzie sells the dummy. Now running back across field. If the Chiefs can score a try now, it would be massive for them. Because they've got a 3-point lead. Conversion would be useful as well. Bavai, nice step again. Try, says Ruth. She's waiting for it. Loving your commentary here in France, says Mark. Maybe we'll be around for the final and another Crusaders win. We will be covering the final on the channel, indeed. It's just that question, will it be in Christchurch? Valentini's got him in a guillotine there. There's a good bit of MMA from Rob. That's a big dive there trying to charge it down. Doesn't end up working out for him and Sergio. Says Gareth. Now kick downfield from the Brumbies. We're back to the territory game. This is actually something that both sides haven't really played for the last maybe 35 minutes, but now we're back to that back and forth. Not a single 50-22 as of yet. Ollie Saxford offloads it back up to Tom Wright. It's it way downfield. That's the slight problem the Chiefs have got here. I think the Brumbies have the advantage in terms of the kicking distance that they're able to get. Josh Ioane, though, moves up to the halfway line. Better tactic from the Chiefs. Try and run this ball forward. Peter Gassoa charges hard, but has both of his legs picked up off the ground, which makes it very hard to run. Now McKenzie chips him behind once again. What a silly goose. Goes off to Noah Lolesio. Inside ball to Andy Muirhead. One day him and Bowden Barrett are going to learn those little chips don't always work. Now James Slipper. In fact, it's going to be McInnery. And his 50th game here. Game of four spats, says Daddy Fat Sats there. And where will the final be played? Either going to be in Waikato or going to be a home game in Christchurch. And great defence means no tries. Brilliant game, exciting. We're here in Mykonos, says Saley. Now, I don't want to seem like an idiot, but Mykonos, is that in Greece or Spain? Or neither of them? Mykonos. Whereabouts is that in the world? I think it's either Greece or Spain, but it could be very wrong. Where will the final be? Will it be in Australia? It will not be. No matter what, if the Brumbies win, it's going to be a home final for the Crusaders. If the Chiefs win, it's going to be a home final for the Chiefs up against the Crusaders. Who will get man of the match so far? I mean, Sam Cane's been very solid, I would say, throughout this contest. For the Brumbies, I don't know who else you would actually go with in terms of Brumbies players stepping up. Dibberenzini's been pretty quiet. Probably one of those forwards, maybe like a Nick Frost. He hasn't been too bad. Adrian Neville takes that one nicely now for the Brumbies, who are only 22 metres out from the Chiefs line, starting to get the rolling maul going. And Mykonos is in Greece, says Stefan. A little chips only of Stevenson, and it says Poots. Big Boy Games is still frustrated about the game. Maybe, did someone steal your remote, Big Boy Games? That might be the case. Someone just stole it or you run out of batteries. I wouldn't be surprised. You just can't quite take it off the telly. They're going to kick for the corner by the sounds of it for the Brumbies. No, you got to go for 3 here, don't you? You're sitting 9-6 down with 15 minutes remaining. They're kicking for the corner again here. They are committed, that is for sure, and they want to try and get that first try of the contest. I should mention, I just accidentally put up that one saying, will it be 9-9? If it is 9-9, we will go to golden point time, ladies and gentlemen. That is the same for what it would have been throughout the regular season, but we didn't get to see any golden point contest. Perhaps this one could be when we get to see it. Should mention, anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We're on the road to 25,000 subscribers. If you do want to help us out, it is hugely appreciated. Wake me up. Falling asleep from this game last night was the best from a Crusader supporter, Naomi. Now driving forward, Connor McInnery, 5 metres out from the line. Oh, Peter Gus jumps over the breakdown. It's a clean turnover, but then there was a knock on, this time from the Brumbies. Every breakdown, it's just well and truly contested. It seems like neither side taking that backward step. Kiwilaz, I think Sean will be scoring the winner, or the Brumbies will win, says Ting. I think the big difference is going to be Rameka Poihipi. I feel like as soon as he's on the field, I wouldn't even be surprised if he is the one who does score the try. Valentini first try now, says Jason Hamilton. You did say it from the start that he was going to be the first one. Are you Queensland or New South Wales? It's a bit tricky because I think my parents are 1-1, a little bit split. So it depends on, like, I guess, who's in better mood. You go with the other person's side because then it kind of evens it out. How dumb was that by the halfback for the Brumbies? Yeah, not smart from Ryan Lonergan. And guys, watch Peter Gus on the ball. Slow to get up, walks to the line. There's Gareth. And a first try for the Chiefs, says Billy. It's going to be fed in by Cortez Aratama now. This is getting to that stage of normally you're looking at about 20 points to 20 at this point. But now it's very different. 9 points to 6. Not a try scored throughout this contest as of yet. Cortez Aratama, was it partially charged there? Might have taken the deflection, which does mean that the Chiefs will have themselves to line out about maybe 25 metres out from their line. New South Wales says me too in there, but we will be covering State of Origin on the channel, I should mention. So anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Just the finger of Ryan Lonergan. We have got there. Lachlan's got $2, and now you go for New South Wales, not Queensland. Yuck. This is Lachlan. Well, thank you very much for the donation. Maybe I'm slightly, now it's 51-49 in favour of New South Wales. How about that? Ngātaua Koi now going off of Alpha Tupavai. Samasoni Takiaho now making his way off the park. And that is going to be now for Tyrone Thompson. Now, he knows a thing or two about a rolling maul try. He's done it for Hawke's Bay, and he's also got a brilliant amount of strength when he's in space. McKenzie spent more time kicking this one than a footballer. Now, Tom Wright and to use this one by himself, hits it up the halfway line, thought about the offload, but the ball wasn't quite able to come out. It's called as a rolling maul. Now just trying to keep that ball in there, but I think he's almost, has he done enough to get it out the back? Not quite. And the scrum feed now going back in favour of the Chiefs. Wild Horses, there's Roof, and he never kicks tactically when needed, says Annoyed. That is one thing I have noticed over the last couple of weeks for McKenzie. There's a lot of just kicking down the field for the sake of kicking down the field. And Tom Wright, another brain fart, says Annoy. And yeah, you could say the same about the Brumbies with Tom Wright. It was a good idea to run it up. He just didn't have the support to be able to help him out. That one on the halfway line, yay, Hawke's Bay represent. We're looking at number 11 for the Brumbies, Ollie Satsford, also a Hawke's Bay boy. JK is going to sook hard about the Blues, says one up my kicks. Yeah, well, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because the Blues, it was so sad to see. Like, I know for Crusaders supporters, they'll be like, brilliant, fantastic. But it was just the game that everyone was looking forward to seeing be close. That just wasn't anything too close. All right, but now the scrum feed for the Chiefs. How much time left, says Corner? At the moment, there is still 11 minutes remaining on the clock. So plenty of time for both of these sides to be able to walk away with a Super Rugby semi-final victory. Move on to the next game where they will be facing the defending champs, the Crusaders. And this is where little moments, little bits of individual brilliance from players can win you a contest. And the question is, who's it going to be? The advantage now in favour of the Chiefs. Luke Jacobson passes back across to Cortez Aratama. Alex Nankerville now decide to take it up again. I'm confused at why Rameka Poihipi is not on the field as of yet. That was a good run from Nankerville, but I still feel like Poihipi, to not bring him on to the final 10 minutes when he's been in such good form, is a risky play from the Chiefs. And I wonder whether or not it's going to pay off. Josh Ioane, they're starting to make a few more metres per run here for the Chiefs, about 5 metres per time now. McKenzie, wide cut out pass, controlled kind of by Nankerville, but they will go back for the original penalty on the halfway line. Was for the original scrum. The Brumbies, says Jan, and yeah, or Jan it might be. I've said too many South African names lately, haven't I? Who do you think is going to win, says Tanufi? I'm really undecided at the moment. I mean, the Chiefs, I want to say, have had a little bit more momentum in the second half because of the Brumbies giving away a few more penalties, but it is still anyone's game. If Damian McKenzie goes for the 3, which he's not going to, once again, the Chiefs are looking. No, they do go for the 3. 50 metres out, this would give them the 6-point lead again. So we have got their bloke's going to be in a wheelchair next episode after striking out this weekend, says Gareth. And also we have got there, let's go the Brumbies, says Lysani. And morning, Hamish, good to catch the last 10, says Nate Dogg. And it is certainly still anyone's game, so you're catching the good old moments right at the end. We've gone 71 minutes, though, ladies and gentlemen, in a Super Rugby fixture without a try. Some people will say that they haven't enjoyed this game. I already know that. But some people also said they didn't enjoy the last game when there were a lot of points being scored. Can't wait for the World Cup, says Taunufi. Now McKenzie lining up this kick. Taking his time here. This will be about 8 minutes remaining on the clock by the time he does strike at McKenzie. Very useful for the Chiefs if it does end up going over. He's got the distance here, McKenzie, straight down the middle again and just drifts over the crossbar. So that will now make the score 12 points to 6 in favour of the Chiefs. Now they're in the beneficial position of if they get themselves another penalty over, it might be just enough. But if the Brumbies score a converted try, they will take the lead by 1 point. And we look back at that kick a bit earlier on. Brumbies did miss one. Out on the full from the Brumbies. That's not ideal. That was Noah Lolesio, one of the younger players. He's bringing up his 50th cap here, coming off the bench. But that is not a moment that he wants late in this one. And at least they say something. Goldie is a simp boy for NZRU. Also, we've got the says a Poots. There and go. The Chief says, mate, showing what happened to that blonde ex-South African fullback in the 90s, played for the All Blacks. Says Ruth. Blonde guy from the 90s, ex-South African fullback. I'm quite young, so I'm not sure. Rameka Poyapi now on the field for Nankerville. They've given him 7 minutes at the end of this game to try and make an impact. And to be honest, from what I've seen throughout this season, there's a possibility that he does so. Now, I will mention, if he scores here late in this game, does he get All Black selection? It's got to be close, doesn't it? Now, Luke Jacobson goes off to the right-hand side, looping around. Here comes Cortez Aratama, sells the dummy, the young number 21. Good work from Amoni Narawa to keep them in the field of play, although I think the referee said there was a knock-on there. What's Peter Gus going for the grubber for? Just a little knock-on the ground from Damian McKenzie. Crowd are booing it. They are not happy, but this was a nice play. Cortez Aratama, huge amount of pace. Didn't go on the outside to Amoni Narawa, who was a little bit confused about why he didn't. No way, says Tanufi. And 7 minutes can provide a winner either way, says NH. 6 minutes remaining. The scrum feed for the Brumbies. This will use up a little bit more time on the clock. I should mention anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel as well. We have got the next game taking place next week, the final. We will be covering that live on the channel, so be sure, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It's hugely appreciated. We've also got the Ashes a little bit later on tonight. In about an hour's time, we're going to be starting up the cricket commentary for that one. A couple Curry Cup games also, perhaps, throughout the night. Noel Alessio passes across now. Well handled by Tom Wright, who now once again will kick it in mind, looking to curl this one towards a 50-22, but it's down to McKenzie, who was covering it well. Now Amoni Narawa. Put this one high. Taken now from Noel Alessio on the halfway line. Tom Wright. That's a terrible pass that's gone forward by Amida. He thought he was playing basketball there, Tom Wright. Come on, the Chiefs, says Hene. And also we have got the semi with no tries, says he makes sure. It's certainly one that you wouldn't expect. He was playing a bit of backyard basketball there, Tom Wright. He was thinking strategically. It's just that it didn't quite happen. Corey Toole now on the field, another guy who could change this game. The 7 superstar, huge amount of pace. Has the potential of getting himself a line break. Come on, who we are play. There's Peter there, and also I really don't trust Monsieur. And let's go to Chiefs. There's Una. Right, scrum feed now for the Chiefs. I've got a little bit more time left on the clock. This last 10 minutes is going to feel like an eternity for both of these sides. They've made a huge amount of tackles. There's been a huge amount of meters made by either of these sides throughout this contest. So that's a big push from the Brumbies. The Chiefs, they end up with the ball again. Josh Ioane goes off now. Mackenzie Wyatt cut out past to Amoni Narawa. Gets through the tackle attempt to Corey Toole. Now moving 40 meters out from the line. Cortez Aratama going across here. Going to be the number 19, Natoa Akoi. Aratama quick to those breakdowns. He runs a very good Bronco in the preseason now. Rameka Poihapi tries the little kick him behind. Does sit up for Corey Toole. Now the Brumbies back in position about 22 meters out from the line. You wonder whether or not he's been told to do that from just coming back onto the field. Maybe they are trying to keep the Brumbies deep inside their own territory and try and force them to make that mistake. The Chiefs says MSF. Tom Wright is a total cluster F. I hope he doesn't make it to the Wallabies, says Trent. Now rolling this ball back, Ryan Lonergan deciding that the kicking option is the best choice for now. Gone high, down towards the halfway line. Great take from Josh Ioane. He's been very good since coming off the bench. By the Chiefs, Brumbies will snatch this, is Stone Cold now back to the left-hand side. Damian McKenzie up the middle. He's got Ratama with him, but instead skip pass out to Sean Stevenson, who's still got a lot of work to do. Offloaded, stolen. Oh no, it's McKenzie who's ended up with it. I thought it was going to be a full field Brumbies intercept, but McKenzie was right place, right time. The Chiefs now 5 meters out from the Brumbies side of things. Advantage for them as well, so this will give them a 9-point lead if they aren't able to get over the line now, but this is where you want to use up as many phases as you can. Use up the clock. Cortez Aratama gets it off to Brody Retallick, and he'll score the first try of the match, and probably the only one. And big Brody Retallick, the try scorer for the Chiefs. Oh, Guzzler has managed to get himself over the try line. I know that he was paying $21 to be the first try scorer on the TAB. Anyone who had him will be very happy about it. And also boring when I watch cricket, says Nate. And also Guzzler says one up my kicks and Guzzler Chahu. And it is Tom Wright's fault. They post. Or they lost, says Annoy there. But Sean Stevenson, just brilliant defense still from the Brumbies. Even when it looked like Sean Stevenson should have been able to run into the corner, they still had men back there. Then Guzzler, Brodie Retallick gets over the try line. Was celebrating it, tongue sticking out as well, the big man. And that now will secure a Chiefs versus Crusaders final, ladies and gentlemen. It will be taking place at FMG Stadium, hopefully not in the rain, because the last few games at FMG, we have seen quite a bit of rain. Okay, Nick Berry was just telling Damien McKenzie how much time he has got. And so it's back to All Blacks Retallick to do the trick, says MH Joy. Yeah, those older veterans. I mean, throughout this game, Sam Cane and Brodie Retallick have both been pretty strong. Jeez. D-Mac and Stevenson for the All Blacks, says Crystal. Brodie Retallick giving it the old rock on signal as well. Also, almost a bit of an up here. And there as well, a bit of celebrations from Big Brodie. Clayton McMillan, who didn't want to give one of his co-coaches a fist bump. They've decided to go short there, the Brumbies, but it hasn't travelled the 10. Once again, the mistake off kickoff. Tom Wright's an angry bloke, so he'll probably try and fight Ollie Norris. Now, there we go. A bit of a head-to-head. Oh, who's that? Conor McInnery going in. Trying to pull him back. Now there's a bit more push between Nato Akoi and Conor McInnery. This is slightly boiling over, but you can understand that the tensions are high. The Brumbies, they now know they are not going to be making it through to the Super Rugby Pacific final, but they're fantastic season, the Brumbies. They have caused upsets. Quite a few of their games. Tokiaho celebrating on the sideline with the rest of his side, including Brad Weber. A good start to this match. And Paul Horses says Blues Nate. And also we have got their Crusaders will romp in next week. And Brodie is that old. It's scary, says Gareth. Well, he's not doing too bad in terms of age. You know, if you're looking at kind of the older players, Bismarck Duplessis, he's about 86 and he's still playing for the Bulls. Dinosaurs live for millions of years, says Bob Log. Can everyone see what I'm saying, says Monsieur? We can. It's just going very fast, so it's hard to reply to everyone, unfortunately. But yeah, what, the final's going to be hectic, isn't it? The Chiefs taking on the Crusaders. Anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is hugely appreciated you guys all being here for this live stream. Yeah, just around the corner, the final. Chiefs Crusaders, going to be an awesome one. Big scrum push there from the Chiefs. They can now boot this ball into touch. McKenzie does put plenty on it, and at FMG Stadium, there's going to be a chance next week for the Chiefs to try and take out that Super Rugby Pacific title. But the Brumbies, they were left scoreless, or sorry, tryless in this contest. 19 points to 6. A 13-point win for the Chiefs. I did actually say in the end, 28 points to 15 was my prediction. So I was a little bit too high, but I had by 13, so I'll claim that, I guess. And Busy isn't a human. I'm not sure what he is, but he's not one of us, says Gareth. And who is the home game? It will be a Chiefs home game. Now, the Crusaders, they have a 29 from 29 record at home when they are up against opposition in Christchurch. This game, though, on the road, that gives the Chiefs that little bit more of a chance. Not sure what the odds will be saying for this next game. With the way that the Crusaders played, certainly have to say that the Chiefs, few little bits of improvement that they will have to make for next week. It's going to be a fantastic game, though, that is for sure. Hopefully that man, Nick Berry, is nowhere near it. 13 points difference between the two sides. Scotland World Cup winners 2023, says Marco. And a wild fleshing out appeared, says Gareth there. And Brodie will be the star at the Rugby World Cup 2023. Well, he's a star of this game, being able to get that final last-minute try for his side. And Vanaka Chiefs says Apelli. And New Zealand will win the World Cup, says Mafui. There is our man of the match. For me, I'd probably say Sam Cane's up there, to be honest. Or maybe, I mean, Stevenson was pretty strong. Nuttawa had a few good runs throughout this game. When will the Convicts ever make a final legitimate? Says Bus. I assume you're talking about the Brumbies. I think that was a little while ago, wasn't it? That kind of thing. Seems like you're holding on to a grudge from like centuries, Bus. And thanks so much. And also Sally Mykonos on holiday. And Sada's marching on the Tron now, North versus South straight up. And it's going to be a rematch of the Super Rugby Aotearoa final from a few years ago. And hold your heads up, Brumbies, great game. Yeah, that's the thing. The Brumbies, yes, they weren't able to get themselves a try in this contest, but they still fought extremely hard. They kept the Chiefs right up to the final moment. Once again, an Australian side who have made the Chiefs work extremely hard. I'm excited to see how the matchup goes, though, between the Chiefs and the Crusaders. Of course, the Crusaders, they were defeated by the Chiefs at Orange Theory Stadium. Boycott next week over, says Nate. Nah, it should be a good game next week. The rain, let's hope it's a long way away from the ground, just like Nick Berry. No man of the match, they could barely put together set plays to score tries, says Daddy Fat Sack. So then, to be honest, when you're looking at set plays not working, then you're looking to your forwards. You see who was doing the most work out of them. I know that Sam Cane had made double figures in terms of tackles. I know that Taukiaho also had a few tackles made. I've been here all the time, Gareth. Just been ranting on Discord, says Fletcher. Yeah, as well. I mean, Leonard Brown, he had a pretty quiet game in the midfield. Same with Nankerville, but McKenzie had 132 metres carried, 7 defenders beat him, 1 clean break. Got his kicks over that he's needed. So, you know, Damien McKenzie, probably a very decent shout for the man of the match. For the Brumbies, I mean, Sam Cane made 14 tackles, 1 turnover. Same with Jacobson. 15 tackles made for Takiaho. Leonard Brown made 14. McKenzie made 7. So, yeah, you probably give Damien McKenzie the man of the match. Even if there was a little bit of roughness around the edges, still did pretty decently. Keep him away from any rugby, says Bus for Nick Berry. And Richie Mwonga to have the game of his life next week, says Trent. And there as well. Anton Leonard Brown didn't put his hand up for the AB, says Joe Webby. And it is a bit of a shame because there is a bit of a question mark in terms of who will be that All Blacks number 12 option. And the good news is we don't have to wait too long because tomorrow they are going to be announcing the World Cup squad. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be covering it on the channel. Probably we'll end up with about an hour of build-up, just looking through, deciding who we would have in our squads. And then from there, we will be looking at exactly who Ian Foster has got. If it's raining next week, Forsyth Bar has a roof. If interested, says Jason. I mean, I know a lot of people would be keen on seeing an indoor stadium final. The atmosphere would be just right on the pitch as well. I cannot believe they not give Brody Retallick the kick straight in front. Unbelievable. So sad, says John Jury there. And Hobie go away, says Crystal. And better semi-final than last night's decider. Chiefs are taking it next week to end the Crusaders dynasty once and for all, says Timmy Souza. Thank you, Hamish, says MH Joy. Talking to Nick White here, he's disappointed. They only got themselves the 6 points on the board, just not quite enough. And also we've got their save serious. Thanks, can we lad any live NRL game? We are hoping to get into the NRL very soon. With less Super Rugby games taking place, we are going to be able to cover a lot more NRL. But on Wednesday, me and my dad, we are going to be covering the State of Origin second game taking place between New South Wales and Queensland. So be sure to keep an eye out for that one. And Kane made like 3 turnovers all year. Hopeless open side, if you ask me, says Marco. I mean, he's been one of the more solid, I think, throughout this season. Sam Kane. He certainly peaked at the right time, I would say. But it's a question of whether or not they want a Jackling 7, which I think in that case they go more for a Papali, or if they want a Tackling 7, then you've got those options of Christie or Harmon or any of those blokes. Peter Gusto Akula, he can kind of rotate throughout that loose forward trio. What you want to be there or what you want to there. What does that mean, Obi, says Crystal. And my butt hurts, says Sam. Interesting. And also we have got D-Mac player of the match. The guy has a huge heart, says Joe. And you're getting those important things over. That is the main thing for the Chiefs. And I mean, in a close game like this, 3-pointers are always important. You've got to make sure you're taking those opportunities when they do arise or do arise. Appear, I think is the word I was after there. Quinta Pye is outside in the car park waiting for Darcy Swain to come out so he can get his revenge. Yeah, I saw him in a suit on the sideline, waiting patiently for his chance to come back in. Thanks again for the commentary. Good to see Chiefs win despite the conditions. A cheers from Canary Island, says Martin. Thank you very much for being here, mate. Hugely appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back next week for the final. So anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel as well. We are currently sitting only 33 away from 26,600. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. Before we go, if you do want to come back next week, we've got plenty of chat going on throughout the week as well. Lineup videos telling you guys exactly who is going to be out there on the field for the final. Previews, you name it, we've got it coming up. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. Brody Retallick just having a bit of a chat there with 2 of his teammates, Jacobson and Sean Stevenson. The 3 of them working hard throughout this game. I have to say Jacobson was pretty strong as well throughout this game. D-Mac, man of the match, says save Surrey. Yeah, he had a lot of running meters, D-Mac. Also getting himself those defenders beaten along the way. The points on the board. It's not a pretty win, but a win's a win, says Daniel. Yeah, it's a hard-fought victory for them, which is definitely what they wanted to do to try. And I guess, I mean, they were definitely challenged in this matchup. But the good news is they've had a couple tough games before the finals, so hopefully that helps them out. Are you doing a show tomorrow for the AB's announcement? We are. We're going to be doing about an hour or so build up of that one. Hamish just came from 2 Cent Stream and can't wait for the final now. Wish I could have been here last night, by the way. Let's go Chiefs, says Big Light. Tell you what, final next week. If it's a combination of what we saw in this game in terms of those close moments and then also a few good tries being scored like we saw in Crusaders Blues, I think we're going to have one heck of a final just around the corner. Men at work, says Roof. Also, we have got the great Hamish. You are certainly looking good, says MH Joy. Cheers. I sleep hardly ever on the weekends with all the action. We've got the cricket coming just around the corner, which we might be staying up till about 5:30 a.m. for. Also, the Curry Cup semi-finals. We're actually hoping to cover a couple of them maybe on the channel as well. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you all in about an hour's time for the match between Australia and England in the Ashes. And also next week for the final between the Crusaders and the Chiefs. But I will see you all for the next one.